I think we're live.
I feel like
This is how
Ottawa,
every video starts. I think we're live. Yeah.
Ottawa sounds far away from British Columbia.
It is. I actually live about 40 minutes driving distance from the New York State border.
Oh, okay.
What's that thing? It's like something percentage of Canadian residents live within an hour of the US border.
It's crazy.
Something crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, hello everyone. I'm assuming this will get uploaded to is that what you do? You cross the border to get some gas?
Some people do.
Yeah. Hope everybody's doing well. This is flipping out. We're chatting it up again tonight, so hopefully some more people come in. Normally, this is the only third time we've done this, but last time it was basically introduce yourself and what was the last game of pinball you played. So Travis, go ahead, man. Travis here on my left, right? I don't know.
That's your left.
That's
You're
Travis.
right.
Yeah, but I'm looking at the camera.
Travis, you want me to talk now?
Yeah, go ahead and do your Mark Silk intro. God.
Yeah. I don't have it. You have it.
Yeah.
My name's Travis, and the last game I played was I just had League on Tuesday night. What was it? Grand Prix. EM.
How'd you do?
Horrible. I think I got third. Something like that. I did so bad at it. I had maybe 40,000 points after 3 balls. I didn't get a flip on it until ball 4. Finished with like 170,000 or something like that, which is not very good.
So, Travis, as a high-end competitive player, what area of your game do you feel you need to improve on the most?
Probably solid states. Probably solid states. Yep.
Whoa, Kaz is here. Brian, how you doing, buddy? Hope you're doing well. Kaz, I hope you're at Expo, man. It'd be great to meet you in person. But Kaz always coming in with those bits. Thank you, Kaz.
Kaz is there right now at Expo.
Oh, he's
number one in line.
He's ready to go.
Tailgating already started.
Yeah. Yep. They're a week out.
Expo? Yep. Is that just next week already?
It is. Expo's next Wednesday. Yeah. Frisco Pinball, talking pinball. Yeah, we're doing some quick introductions here, waiting for some people to come in. Greg, my man. Quick introduction, and what was the last game of pinball you played?
Well, Craig Bobbie, I do the Stern News for the Pinball Show with Zach and Dennis. And so the last game I played was the one you see right behind me, which is Avengers. I played about an hour ago. And, I was remarking, again, now that I've had this game for the better part of a year, that this thing still gets me so gunned up every time I play. I don't know if you guys, Mike and Travis feel this, but I come off this game and my adrenaline is like I am amped whether I play 1 game or 5 games. And I still find this game so it's exciting, it's frustrating, it's maddening. I don't know if I love it or hate it still, it really does something to you when you play this game.
Yeah, for me, you're describing Black Knight. Like when I play Black Knight, I'm physically affected after a stream or a session on it because it just feels like a fight, right? And it's just your adrenaline's pumping the whole time. And yeah, I totally get what you're saying.
Black Knight Pro or the original Black Knight?
Pro. Oh yeah, the Pro. Nice. Sort of right.
Nice. Very cool. Well, Mike, go ahead, man. This first time you're on, so yeah. Quick introduction.
I'm Mike from Pinballers, and last game I played was this guy right here, Star Trek. It's actually our newest game too. We picked that up last week. We've wanted it for a while, so played that 4 or 5 times this afternoon. Lunch,
very cool.
Working from home.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. Monica, how you doing? Thanks for putting up with Travis. Monica Loco, everybody.
Special thank you.
Yeah, it takes quite the woman to deal with that guy. My name's Joel. Yeah, I do Just Another Pinball Stream, Just Another Pinball Podcast, Triple Drain Podcast with Travis and Tom. And the last game of pinball I played was Deadpool because it's gone. Deadpool Pro is gone. I'm waiting to get my premium. I'm waiting to get I'm picking up a premium. I have kind of a cool trade thing going. So had to get a few games in on Deadpool. But to be honest, I have not touched a pinball machine in well over a week because I've been drywalling the heck out of my basement, trying to make it better. But I think that's good for introductions. We'll just dive right into the news. Kaz, who's buying the kit at $199 To be honest, Travis and Craig, I want your opinion, but I know we've already talked about this. So, Mike, you're the new guy here. First off, just overall thoughts on this Insider Connected kit.
Okay, so for me, I'm a sucker. I like the carrot that they dangle in front of you. Achievements, Xbox Live, PlayStation, all that stuff. So this is something I'm interested in for sure. I believe I have 3 games that are supposed to be released for it on launch.
Guardians, Mando, and you have a Guardians there too.
Yeah, Guardians. No, but I believe it's Led Zeppelin, Black Knight.
Oh, the first 6, right? The first
the first 6, I think, and then it's Mando right after it. But with Godzilla being here, I'll have one, and I have at least one kit on order. But we'll see how it goes. I'm not going to go crazy and do all my games until I see how it is.
Gotcha. So you're diving. You haven't. Do you have kits reserved already with distributors?
I have one kit reserved.
Yeah. I have one, but you have a Godzilla coming, so you'll get a taste of it. Yeah. And Travis actually mentioned earlier he has experienced it because you were at District 82, you're at Super Series. There was a Godzilla there, but you said the overall buzz there wasn't much. There wasn't much buzz in the room in regards to Insider Connected. Is that right?
It itself, no. I mean, I think it's mainly because there's not too much to it right now. I mean, it's obvious they're at the very beginning when you actually get to dive into it, that they're at the very tip of the iceberg with this thing. I think Gomez made that even more apparent today when he's talking with, who was it, Marco Specialties earlier. Yeah. And he even mentioned that there's just so much more that achievements is just the very first thing into it, that there's just a lot more. And also, to be fair, I mean, the first taste of achievements that we get is with Godzilla, and just the same way that we talked about it here just a couple of weeks ago, the fact that there's not too many achievements on there compared to all the other games. And so Godzilla, the code just now got up to like 0.8, I think today, matter of fact. So there's just, I don't know, since the game's not fully coded yet or anywhere near complete, obviously you're not going to have as many achievements. You're just going to have your very bare minimum basics in it. And I think, what was it, 39 achievements total. I'm looking at it right now, 39 total. I think Dwight had 75 or 77.
Yeah, 77. Yeah.
So, yeah, and that gives you an idea right there. So I mean, it's going to be one of those things. I think early on, for me, that I've only played Godzilla maybe 5 times, but even the achievement novelty's kind of worn off already, just because there's not much fanfare to it. And it's kind of, if you've ever played Xbox or PlayStation, you get trophies and achievements there. And it's very passive, even on there with the way it happens, but at least you notice it. Whereas whenever you're playing pinball, there's so much going on because you're focused on the play field. It's so passive in earning the achievements that there was a lot of times I didn't even know I had an achievement until afterwards. And then I figured out on some of them, I know for a fact I did some of the achievements and it still didn't register. So I'm not sure why that is exactly, because I was logged in, and that actually just happened to me Tuesday night. So I'm not quite sure what's going on with it exactly. But I mean, overall, I still like the idea of having the achievements, and I like the idea of having the more difficult achievements, because I think that will lead me to coming back to it and trying to get to it. Like, I still want to do it. I was just kind of surprised with how passive the achievements really were once you actually got on a pin and you started playing.
Interesting. So you're saying you were in the moment. So like the moment you hit the shot to get whatever achievement, there is no fanfare. I think you hear like a little chime and it kind of pops up on the screen. But do
Correct.
but I know as soon as you drain, it like shows you the achievements that you got. But do you want there to be more of do you want the shaker motor to go out? Do you want there to be more of or the knocker to go off or something? Like, do you want it to be more obvious, or what's your thought?
Yeah,
there?
I think that's actually really smart. I think if there is a shaker motor with it, I think that would be good. I think whatever sound they're giving to it and just needs to be louder by default automatically, because it is there, but yet there's just so much going on. It just, even though it overrides the music and what's happening in the game, it's just not enough to really make it pop. Because if you're in the zone and you're just jamming away, you're going to start getting achievements. They're going to start piling up. But, it's just, I don't know. For me, I was actually missing them. And I had to go back and look on my phone or my profile and see, okay, what popped up. Like I
Yeah.
had an idea of what probably popped up, but I still wasn't for sure. And I think, I don't know, maybe a lot of that is because your focus is on the playfield itself and not necessarily on the LCD while the pinball's going all over the place. So, I mean, that could be a big part of it as well.
Yeah, I don't know, because well, okay, Travis, do you have any on order?
I've got two, but
And
they're for location pins. And
but
I
that's
think,
that's the key, right?
so, right. And, getting back to, I think, and just this is just to refer to chat real quick. And I apologize if I'm pronouncing your name wrong, but Deebs 44, they point out something that's actually the same thing I'm thinking. I think a lot of it might have to do with the age demographic, because obviously most of the Xbox and PlayStation age demographic isn't going to be above 40. It doesn't mean all of us don't play games. Like I'm 37, I still play games. So I'm well aware of it. I grew up with it. But I kind of fear that from judging from the Super Series and judging from League, and my league has very casual players, and nobody was really talking about it. Nobody was really rushing over, trying to get achievements or anything like that. It was only the young people that were doing that. And when I say young, I'm meaning like 20s and early 30s. Anybody that was 40 plus or 50 plus in our league, they didn't care. Didn't matter. So I'm curious to see how that plays out. But this is still super early though. And I think achievements is just going to be one very small part of this whole thing. I really do. So
Yeah.
I don't know how big of a deal that will really be in the future.
Well, I mean, they just announced today. That they have released pricing. So, and I've seen that from multiple distributors. They posted it. It's out, but $199 per kit, and that's the same whether it's a pro or premium. Doesn't matter. $199 plus shipping. So, I mean, in my mind, because people did the math backwards, right? They said, okay, every game now is now $300 more than it used to be. So, what did they add? All they've added is the kit. So, I don't know. Somehow people were thinking this is a $300 kit. So I had prepared myself. That's like, crap, I'm going to have to pay $300 to put this on Deadpool or Turtles. But so when I heard $199, I mean, George Gomez has said, though, these kits are going to be cheap. He always said that. They're going to be cheap. They're going to be cheap, which is, I mean, $199 isn't cheap. But it's not like, that's not cheap, right? I mean, they're not giving them away. But $199 is better than $300. That's for sure. I will take that. But what we did here though is they're not releasing many of them. There's every distributor's getting like 10, and that's that's going to be basically Q4, and those 10 are prioritized to location play. So, Travis, I mean, yours are for location. Do you have any idea if yours are going to be prioritized? Do you think you're going to potentially get one of those early runs?
Yeah. Since it's on location, I'm definitely getting the early run. But for home, I don't think I'd ever get one for home, to be honest with you. And I have a couple of pins here in which I could do that, but I don't know. I don't feel like the value is quite there for home after playing it. But again, it's still very much bare bones. It could totally change once they add on stuff. And we've talked about this off stream too, Joel, that I still personally think this is about 2 years away from being fully fleshed out. Because there's still lots of things to get on with it, such as like friend requests, being able to actually follow people and see what's going on. I mean, I don't know. I personally don't see the value there early on. So maybe it's not that big a deal that people can't get it for their homes. But that being said, I think when you first get the pin, and just like Mike alluded to earlier, I think off camera that you're getting your Godzilla Pro pretty soon. I think in those situations, the initial novelty will be there because it's cool. It's something that's new. I just think it's one of those things that if you are an above average pinball player, you're going to get through these achievements really fast. I mean, I've played it 4 times, I think, total, and I have 15 achievements out of 39. I know for sure 4 did not register. So, I mean...
Oh, Godzilla, right? I mean, we looked in detail, and I think I've been a little scrutinized on how detailed we got into the Turtles achievements last week. But I mean, some of those Turtle achievements though are not achievements that you're gonna just like fall into. I mean,
Oh,
they're and you know Keith, so Keith is gonna go nuts. I think he's gonna go big with Godzilla, and there probably gonna be some achievements there that are pretty hard. I know, like Avengers. So Craig, you only have one game, so it's to you. You know, like I know Mike saying he's got what? How many Stern LCD games do you have, Mike? 6. So like that's a commitment. 7
tomorrow.
7, but Godzilla already has it. So 6 of them though, $200 a piece. You're looking at, if you want to commit, that's $1,200. I mean,
I mean, does anyone mention whether they're interchangeable or not, or are they specific to the game?
I asked a distributor about that, and he said technically, because I said, are you allowed? Is there a way, like, if you added one onto your game, could you technically pull it from your game and then move it to another one? And he said something about, they did say something about being able to like register or unregister. So yes, it sounds like you could move it game to game. So as like a streamer, you could probably do that, but I don't think it's going to be, I mean, I know like Scorebit, I have a Scorebit in TNA, and technically you can take that Scorebit board, but it's not a like boop, boop. It's work. But then again, $200, you know?
Yeah. I'll get it and throw it in the machines. And if you know, if it's not what I want it to be, then I'll just go to the old, you know, pencil and paper. I'll look at all the achievements on. I'll just write down
what you did, I got them. And you'll verify them. Get a green highlighter out and verify it. There you go.
Green line through it. We're good to go.
Seraph, I think they will add harder achievements more similar to trophies are the ones I'd heard with Turtles. So yeah, I mean that's a good thing, right? So the trophies, I thought Ray Day actually said in one of our chats that most of the Avengers achievements are basically going to be the Avengers trophies. Yeah. Right. And I don't know if either Craig or Trav, well, never mind, all 3 of you guys have Avengers. Have any of you guys really dove into the trophy list? And I mean, do you feel, are there trophies that are gold level that would be real hard to achieve? That you know of?
You need to have a pretty good run in deep into the game to get a few of those trophies for sure. Some of those trophies, you know, you can get a gold with doing very little, but a lot of them you're going to have to get deeper into the game to get some of those golds.
Interesting. Huh. I don't
and
know.
I guess if you have it, you know, my question was if you had it on a game with Avengers and you've already achieved some of these things, I guess it's not, you know, going to be backwards compatible, or it's not going to log you again. So you're going to have to do these things again. Yeah. I guess it doesn't save them game to game anyway, beyond, you know, some basic high score keeping with the game itself, you know. So,
but it saves it in your account. That's like. It's in your, like, if you
right.
achieve it.
I mean previous. Oh no. The thing connected. Yeah.
Travis isn't gonna plug his in, and all of a sudden he just automatically got 40 achievements. Yeah.
It is. I would say it is a little disappointing that they haven't. There's not many to be had, you know, initially for something that they're trying to make a kind of a big fuss about. You know, to say they're really limiting this to 10 units per distributor. I mean, I'm sure a lot of distributors have way more than 10, you know, operator type customers who you know, I bet the average operator is asking for 10 of these things, you know, so it does seem to me like the rollout is, you know, maybe they should have delayed it or something. You know, I'm sure they're trying to save enough that they can continue on with their production and you know, ensure they have enough to, you know, to put them all in the Godzillas that are going out the door, plus any other pins they're going to produce. So it seems like, you know, first priority is production, second priority is operators, third priority is, you know, potential homeowners, I guess. And then even then, it sounds like they're going to limit how many they're going to hand out initially. So I think we're going to be well into 2022.
Well, they said that. They said
the average person is going to get this thing.
The consumer ones are coming out Q1.
It ain't going to be me, you know, like now I'm into 2022. So that is a little bit disappointing. It's probably the world we're living in right now. So what can you do? And I like, you know, I'm clamoring for this thing just because I feel like it. I would agree with everything said so far that it's not really that big a deal, but when you've got something that's this expensive and you feel like there's another angle to it that you're not able to access, that starts you know, there's that FOMO feeling for sure, right? Like I gotta get this thing, I gotta get online, One day in the near future, they're gonna go, okay, everybody, there's leaderboards. Okay, everybody, now you can have a tournament online. And how many people are gonna have them at that point? So that's my sort of worry in the back of my head. It's like, shit, I'm gonna be missing all this stuff, and they're gonna be moving forward. The reality is they probably aren't gonna move forward with too much of it until more people have them. And it does, I understand, give them time to continue their coding, continue to add more machines. We have to be patient with it, I guess. But it is just a little bit frustrating. It's like, okay, would you rather have them release it now, kind of half-baked and not distributing many of them, or would you have them wait for another 4 to 6 months with the promise of it coming and no one's got access to it? I don't know.
Well, it is interesting because they've advertised that all other LCD games are supposed to be supported by the end of the year, but yet they've just announced that there will be no no consumers going to have it.
It's irrelevant
before next year. So it's only going to be the on location stuff. By the way, Zachary, that's Dwight Sullivan. Dwight, how you doing, man? Dwight's in chat again.
A question I have with regards to those orders is, everybody knows there's a backlog of games that Stern is trying to catch up to. A lot of these games were pre-ordered, deposits paid this year. They're not going to get made till next year. Are they going to include the kits in those games as well?
All the games. Every game from the day they announced it, every single game from here on out has the kit in it. Every game.
Even games ordered prior and deposits paid prior.
Yeah, well, that's what, Mike, we talked about that a few weeks ago. Like, distributors, if games were paid prior, as soon as they announced that these kits are in it, every game went up minimum $300. And so every distributor, every order they had placed, they had to call and ask for more money. And what's crazy is January 1st of next year, all games are going up to the same price as Godzilla. So once again, if you had ordered a game that wasn't even going to be manufactured this year, you're asking for money. And Dwight, thank you for answering these questions, by the way. He said months ago we were hoping the kits would be available October 1st. So Craig is correct. It's the world we live in. So all new manufactured games will have the kit. So I that's awesome. It's just right now it's just a waiting game. It's kind of unfortunate the only game that has it is Godzilla, but yet Godzilla currently has the lowest amount, like the smallest amount of code and the smallest amount of achievements. So we can't really see that depth, that draw. And
it's just it's just the nature of the beast right now, though.
Yeah.
I mean, this thing has to roll out somehow, and it's just one of those things like we talked about. It's going to take a little while to flesh it out, and I'm sure we'll be saying something completely different by next summer once more of these are out. And I think it's, I was kind of back and forth on whether or not they should go to consumer first or whether they should go on location first. But after the way Gomez described it earlier today, it makes a lot of sense that it would go to locations first, just so that way people can see how it is and see how it plays without having to necessarily invest on their own. And then they can make a decision when it's time, because obviously once they are ready to roll out to consumers, there probably will be a lot of people that want to get this. Because, I mean, we know some people that have 10 score bits at home. So I have to believe those types would be willing to get something like this for their house.
Yeah. So, Dwight, it's coming. If you can come to Expo and get verified achievements on mini games, then MGC and more after that. So he's saying Stern's going to have games at Expo that aren't just Godzilla. And that'll be awesome. Because to be honest, like, I have a Turtles, but part of me is almost hesitant to play it right now. Because it's like, I don't want to get that random, I know practice, but it's like, I don't want to get that crazy achievement, because I don't get credit for it yet. But
you know what you can do?
Yeah, what, Travis?
You can take the glass off and get the achievement.
That's not who does that, right?
That's what I'm waiting for. I'm waiting for all the operators. All the operators are leaderboards because they're gonna have all those verified achievements, no problem. So they got the keys to the game.
They'll have a side business. Yeah,
Mike. So I played a Godzilla on location on Tuesday, but yet our operator messed up and put it underneath their name. So none of the achievements are picked. Like, no. Why?
Yeah, but I'm saying, I mean, Travis as an operator, you just need to have that side gig. Hey, slide me that $20. I'll slide that glass off for one game. So you can hit some switches.
Who's to say too that I can't walk up to a machine and scan my code and then say, hey, Ray Day, you want to come over and play the game for me? Knock off some achievements I'm trying to hit.
Yeah. No, I think, that's awesome. If they're going to have games like that at Expo, that's great. And to be like, I've got to give it to Stern, because Tanyo on his Facebook page, he said that Logan's Arcade's going to have a Godzilla, and they have a deal right now where if you play that Godzilla and you log in with Insider Connect during the days of Pinball Expo, you can then redeem that for like a free t-shirt. So it's just like that idea to me of I'm going to Expo, but no bit of me actually thought that I would travel out of my way to go to Logan Arcade. And then you get like an exclusive badge that like you can only get at that time. And
Dude,
those are the
cool.
yeah.
There's the carrot.
I know
There's
they're
the
dangling
carrot.
it right there. It's like, well, crap. Apparently, I need to go to Logan's
got a
Arcade, play one game, get my T-shirt, and get my badge that Craig can't get because he's stuck in Canada. So
Yeah.
Oh,
And you can stick it on. We can stick it on our moose head, right, Craig? Our little moose head avatar.
exactly.
Put the badge
I
right
did it.
on there.
yeah, I know.
37 years old. And
So-
I needed a badge this bad.
But now you know. I think that's brilliant. I think that's brilliant. I mean, Dwight knows it. He's saying it right there in chat.
The idea of badges a lot more than I do the achievements.
Yeah.
If they do something like a community badge when they do community stuff, then I'm like all in. Then
Yeah.
I'll be at the arcade grinding away. Yeah.
But that's what I mean. That's I understand. This is the beginning. This is the beginning, and we have nothing but potential here. But what I am seeing is the price is rough. It's $200. $200, and we all know there's no way that price is going down, right? So there's a chance that next year at I mean, look at every other Stern accessory. Every other one. Zach announced it.
Go up? Is
I
that what you're saying?
absolutely. Like, why would it not? I mean, look at like shooter rods. Shooter rods, like Stern shooter rods are more expensive now than they were 6 months ago, a
I'd be
year ago.
very surprised if they had it go up during 2022. 2023, all bets are off. But I mean, it's already Q4, and if they go up after one quarter
Yeah.
before it gets to consumers, that would probably anger a lot of people. And I think that would do the exact opposite of what George Gomez was saying.
Mini Pinballer, is that related to you, Mike?
That's Carter.
Hey.
That's my son.
That's awesome.
Is he hanging out? Oh, he's
He's following now. Yeah.
Craig, you're about to say something a second ago, and Joel just cut you off.
I did.
He just
I can't even remember. It wasn't anything important.
Guys, they're gonna give me a hard time for this because I mentioned this before the show that it's like how do I be polite to the people talking but also get chat involved? And
I know what I was gonna say.
okay.
Sorry to cut you off now, Joel, but I was gonna say, so is Logan's Arcade in downtown Chicago, or because I know the expo is more at the airport, so is Logan's all the way downtown?
I haven't Googled it. I don't know.
We're gonna find out.
Yeah.
You're gonna find out.
But that's what I'm saying. That potential though, that
To
different
find it.
Logan is
search it
downtown.
out.
Yeah, so but that kind of thing that different shows are gonna have exclusive badges. You know, think about Zach Mini. He's gonna pull out his Facebook account. He's like, check out all these shows that I've gone to. You know, like those are pretty cool. And exclusive time things. That's something they talked about. That it's like, hey, it's I don't know. I guarantee there's a Godzilla day, right? There's got to be one day out of the year that's a Godzilla day, and so they may have something that's like, if you log a game with Godzilla at a bar, boom, you get a Godzilla day badge, and that's the little stuff that would get me out of the house. Mike, you're
Like, how hard would it be to do something in the future with Godzilla? Let's say you have 10 of your friends hook up to a machine and you're doing like a raid battle against Godzilla where you have to do, 1 billion points worth of damage or something to him collectively with your friends or something.
Yeah. There is
stuff like that. That's stuff that I hope to see. I don't know if it's actually going to be possible, but we'll see.
So Ye Hoodie, I'm assuming that's right. So, is this specifically a current Stern conversation, or are you aware that JJP games have achievements now? Yes, I know. I think is it now officially every JJP game has achievements? But
so except for, does Wizard of Oz have it yet? I don't think I've seen that one.
I don't know about that, but I mean, I'll tell you, I'm honest. I have not really talked about the achievements that JJP's thrown out there. I haven't looked through the list. Is there a list of different achievements per game? I mean, I know they've talked about doing like global trophies. So like whoever has the highest score has the person that has the highest registered score on GNR has a trophy. I don't know. I don't know what
the trophies are for GNR. What do you think the achievements would be for that?
I don't know. I don't
Like
know.
the longest time gone without a forearm cramp or something? Or what do you think?
Supposedly there are 180 achievements in GNR.
See,
How many
there you go.
attaballs you can get during a song?
Yeah. I know. So
180. Wow. That's a
Travis
lot.
has owned GNR and sold it. Mike, you've owned GNR and sold it.
Mm.
I have not. Craig, you have not.
So why is
But
that? Yeah. So why? Well, I know Travis's issue, but Mike, what was your experience with that game?
Okay, so I had issues out of the box with the game, but I mean they were minor. I fixed them. Uh, my biggest issue was the gameplay, to be honest with you. I just wasn't a fan of it. I don't like the, it's a Guns N' Roses pin. It's the prettiest box of lights I've ever seen. But I don't like the fact that in order to hear a song, you got to collect all the band members, start a song, and then you're playing the song for however long. You're doing great. You end up draining, whatever. You lose everything. The ball saves, 60 seconds, they need to be turned off. You got to turn those ball saves off when you get those songs because, like Travis said, you're going to get cramps. So, I mean, in a nutshell, I think it was more the gameplay than anything else that I just wasn't a fan of. Maybe the rules, the code. I mean, I
yeah.
could have kept it longer, I guess, but
Mervin Methadone, risk reward. I mean, I know we had a local TPN or another TPN person just recently pick up Metallica. And so what, maybe that's a question. Metallica is risk reward. It's nothing but risk reward. But why, and maybe this is an unfair statement, but why does Metallica do risk reward better than GNR?
because you're getting points while you're doing the risk reward, whereas in GNR, it's all collecting the song. Like you get zero really. You start band frenzies, stuff like that. That helps. But with GNR, I find it's really, really focused on collecting those song jackpots. Whereas Metallica, like if you're in, crank it up on Metallica, you're building points to collect when you collect the points, but you're also getting points for hitting the shots while you're building up those points too. So that's a little different.
Dwight had a great answer. He was on it too. As soon as I asked that question, his answer, Lyman Sheets.
Yeah.
Lyman Sheets is the answer.
I mean, so here's the issue at GNR, and I know we're kind of getting off track here,
No,
but
that's
my
what we're here for.
issue is that the rule set, I feel like the rule set does not match the layout. Like I feel like it's just kind of jammed together. Whereas like with Metallica, I feel like the rule set matches the layout. It makes fundamental sense. And so with GNR, a lot of your frustration comes that, yeah, you're going to enjoy the light show, but in the middle of all that, you're going to be doing a lot of flipping and you're going to have to try to build up a lot of points, and then you may cash it in, you may not. And I don't know, for me personally, it's not very much fun just to be flipping and knowing I have an endless ball save just to build up points just for one very specific shot. I mean, it's fine in spurts, maybe like for the first 10 minutes. But then all of a sudden, when you realize you're in a 45-minute to an hour and a half game, I mean, the longest game of GNR I played was 2 hours and 45 minutes. And I'm just like,
Wow.
why am I doing this right now? Yeah, I had to walk away from the game. And it's just like, because when you get the jamming, if you play that game vertical and you don't use your upper flipper at all, it's just live catch, the wide open ramp, live catch, wide open ramp. And you can play it like that, or you could play it wide open and just chimp flip your way. But even then, I don't know. For me, that's not fun. It doesn't feel like there's much skillful things going on. And I don't think that's a result of the layout. That's a result of how the rule set is with that layout. And it just, I don't know, because the layout isn't wide open, it just doesn't really make sense just to be flipping away like that, because the balls spend the majority of the time in the lower third of the play field. And it's just total chaos, just balls knocking into each other. And then whenever the plunge goes, where does it put the ball at? Right back into the middle of the playfield, just colliding with other balls again. So, yeah, it just drove me nuts. So that's the big reason why I got rid of it.
And I think that's fair. Those are all fair reasons. And I think, yeah, Ye Hoodie said he had Carl D'Angelo had a 2 hour 45-minute game on YouTube. I mean, I get that, but to bring it back to the achievements, though, that is an interesting thought. Why here we are having a conversation about, are we willing to spend $200 to add achievements to our games? But right now, every JJP owner for free can just download the new code and they have achievements. So is there a reason? Like, am I missing something? Is there a reason we're not discussing achievements on JJP?
It's already an expensive game to begin with.
Yeah,
It's
you're
not
paying
like,
more for.
yeah, it's already expensive enough. So yeah, something better be for free in there. I mean, they say it's for free, but come on, $10,500 of free. I mean, I think it's already built in. That cost is firmly baked into that.
Yes, I know. Obviously, they are more expensive games, but I mean, yeah, okay. Every Stern game from here on out is having that is having this stuff. But
there's nobody
nothing,
out there, Joel, that's giving away something for free. I mean, it's the same thing that happened with Spooky when they were like, "Hey, here's Rick and Morty. Here's a free topper." It's like, no, that price is baked in there somewhere. Yeah, everything's accounted for at some point. You don't just all of a sudden just throw, money at. Well, shit. Maybe Spooky does do that. Maybe they just throw money at the wall and just. It sticks. I don't know.
Mike, do you have any JJP games anymore?
No, actually, Guns N' Roses was the first I've purchased. Okay. I'd actually never had another JJP before. This was the only one we bought.
Would you get another one?
Maybe a dialed in. My wife really wants a Oz, though. She wants a Wizard of Oz, but I mean, I don't mind the Wizard of Oz. But if I had to if I had to have a JJP, it would probably be a dialed in.
A fun game. I like.
It feels. Yeah, I mean, for me, dialed in feels like more the authentic, Bobbie Williams style game. Mm-hmm. There's something about the JJP games that I personally don't like. They feel differently. Even the snap of the flippers. Maybe they might be a little sluggish or something. Just something different that I prefer the Sterns and the Bobbie Williams much more.
Mr. Hopwood, that weak plunger, man. That weak plunger on
that
GNR.
Weak plunger.
Yeah.
It feels like everything's a wet noodle on those games. Yeah. I don't understand why that is. I have no clue.
Do you think there was a conversation when we heard about Steve Ritchie? I mean, Steve Ritchie's all about speed. Do you think there's a chance that he's going to be like, guys, fix your flippers? Or I don't know. I thought we talked about that before, but
we did. Yeah, they're going to have to. I mean, Travis, there's no way you can't do a fan layout over there with those flippers. It's not going to work well.
Travis Yehoody has a good question here. Has Stern mentioned anything about match play integration with Insider Connected?
Probably coming once they do the tournament stuff, I would imagine.
Yeah.
I can't see them not doing that with the stable of people that they have over there.
Well, Scorebit is an individual board, but Scorebit, that is the software that's baked into the JJP games that's doing all these achievements. Scorebit is or has announced or is saying they are planning on doing some sort of reporting like that, like tournament type reporting.
Yeah, it actually, I think just a day ago, the head guy of Match Play put it up on Tilt forums already.
Okay.
That it's connected to Match Play now, but I don't know how that works, but I know it is connected to it.
Because I watched a good bit. Shout out to Tom Graft, run an amazing stream with that District 82 stream over the whole weekend. But it is amazing that, with all this technology, the fact that you guys are finishing your game and picking up a piece of paper and like writing down your scores. I mean, it's it
comes down to cost too. I mean, even
a piece of paper and a pencil is pretty cheap.
Yeah, compared to $200 to $300 for something just to take your scores down. But yeah, I could see something like that being used by the major tournaments that are Herb format. If you only have to put it on 9 to 15 pins. And somebody could possibly just be going around with those and putting them on the games and taking them off. I could see that, but
well, games in the future are going to have them, right? So in the future, they're just going to be there, so you won't even need to worry about that, right?
Yeah, that's true. You probably just need maybe 5 to 6 then, or your non-Sterns.
Because you're going to have older games that you're going to want to pop them into as well.
Yeah,
right?
Yep. Well, so we talked a little bit on Triple Drain. It was like, what is the, Mike, I like your dangling the carrot, but it's like, what is the thing? What is the thing that's going to get people to commit to this system? And I know one of the things that Travis and I talked about was if you could put this on your home game and if you paid extra and you became the Insider Connected $35 a year guy, if that now, because they've announced if you're that deeper, that one level deeper, you potentially, there you go. He's a Stern Insider. There he goes. So if that, I think they said it gives you access to more, I forget their exact wording, but it's basically more software. So the question is, what is that? What's that more software that you'd get access to? And one of the things we threw out, which would be really cool, would be the ability to choose your mode or to choose, like, to start the game, hold flippers, and choose a starting point. And the reason I mention this is because from a competitive standpoint, Travis, it's like if he could just skip straight to Mech Suit Multi-Ball and practice that multi-ball, like he was like, I'm in, because any tools that he could use to improve his tournament play, because we all know he needs it, he's going to pay money for. But that's the carrot that Travis wants. I don't know. I mean, is that a carrot that attracts you? I mean,
avatars.
Custom avatar. That's what you want.
You win items to put on your avatar to show, how cool you are.
Oh, okay.
Right? You get that, Jurassic Park jacket for, escaping Nublar, or to put on your avatar. It's like badges.
Anything like that? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Give you that. I mean, Craig, cool. I think you said you're already in, right? I mean, you got one machine. You're gonna.
Oh
dive
yeah.
in, right?
No, I'm dying to get on this thing.
Yeah.
So
weekly challenges.
No, I think it's gonna be great. Yeah, challenges. I mean, I just think it's something that the community's talked about for a long time. There's been a high level of anticipation about this for the last 2 or 3 years, and I think it's fantastic that Stern's finally done it. And like Dwight was saying, it's just unfortunate that the world finds itself in, a supply chain issue. I mean, hell, the UK can't even get gas half the time. So this is like down on the food chain, I would say, about where the Insider Connected kits are right now.
Yeah.
People are worried about not getting turkeys for Thanksgiving, in the US. So
Dwight, I know, Dwight, if you're still in chat, I think he had said on a previous thing that he doesn't have a Turtles in his basement, but he has a Star Wars. He has a Star Wars Premium. So the question is, Dwight, what is it that this is directed at one person in chat, but Dwight, what is the thing that's going to prompt you to put one on your Star Wars? Like, is there something that you're excited about? Is there something about, and I'm not necessarily, maybe there's something that we don't know about yet, but there's got to be something as a coder of games, and there's got to be something of an owner of these machines. What's the selling factor for you? Why do you want to put it on your pins? That kind of thing. Or anybody in chat, feel free to answer that. I can't see an operator near me paying $200 per game to update all Star Wars pins. I think there are 10 there, so that's 2K retrofit. I have one operator who I know that he's already committing to putting them on all his games, and it's just for all those perks that they've talked about, being able to update games remotely, being able to see if any of his games are down, being able to see cash totals, like is it worth my drive to go do these things. Dwight, I have an office in my basement with different play fields I can and do swap. Oh, so he could put it on Turtles. There you go. Okay, yeah. But those are the thing, and Keith Elwin said that on Loser Kid, that as an operator, he used to operate, he had like multiple locations. So anytime a code update came out, it was like 45 minutes driving up there to update code, and then another hour and a half. So it's like, I don't know. I think operators, if there's a time saving, Travis, you're an operator. Am I just blowing smoke, or what do you think?
No, I mean, one of my plans with this is I'm going to document my experience with it and just put it out there, because I know there's a lot of people that are on the fence about it, and I don't even know really what to expect. But I figured, what the hey, it's just a couple $100. I might as well try it and just see how it is, and if it doesn't work, then I know not to do it anymore. But if it's a big convenience and I actually see coin drop going up, then I'd probably look into putting it on other games. So it just depends.
Mervin Methadone has a great point. When operators can take payments through the scanning device, they will.
That's what I think is going to happen. I hope that happens. I really do, because then that means if that's possible, that means I can do dynamic pricing from my house. I don't have to go there and change the price. So I could be like, hey, it's 25-cent Friday, or hey, it's $5 coin drop Saturday. I don't know. So something like that. As an operator, that would be the biggest thing, is being able to do dynamic pricing on the fly. And if somebody just use their phone to pay, I think that's pretty cool too. Me as a customer, I would like to be able to do that, to buy credits or something like that. That would be pretty dope.
Cool.
I would 100%. Sorry, I would 100% play more games if I could pay that way, right? I mean, instead of having to go to an ATM, go to a change machine, wait in line for somebody to give you change, whatever. If you have your phone, I'll throw a few more games on here.
Yeah, it's a lot easier that way. And Dwight here in chat, did we announce price? Yes, you did. Dwight, it came out today. It's $199 plus shipping. So I don't know what that means for you as an employee, but that's what That's what they told everybody. But I think you have a really good, interesting point, Travis. This dynamic pricing. If they allowed something where it's like, you know, this game, you know, if being that it attracts person, it's like, hey, if you for every I don't know, for every 5 games you play, you get one free, or for every 10 games you play, you get one free, you know, and it doesn't have to be all done in one day. Yeah, I mean, you could do a lot of things, right? If you had control over that.
Happy hour. I mean, being able to know that I could do a happy hour, say that Dwight just answered it for me, like saying that, you know, if the place opens at 11 o'clock, then it's going to be 50 cents for a coin drop or 75 cents. And then once it hits evening time, like around 6 or 7, it's on a Friday, Saturday, maybe it goes up to $1. If I could be able to set a game to where within certain time frames, the pricing changes on its own and I can set it on that, that would be awesome as an operator, because then I don't have to keep going back and forth and messing with it. It wouldn't have to be manual. You just set it one time, leave it, and it can be dynamic throughout the whole day or throughout the whole week.
Yeah.
How many trips would that save you? How many trips would that save you going into your locations, looking at games with code updates, all that stuff? How many trips would that save you if that was what it did?
A lot.
Yeah.
A whole lot. It'd save me a ton of gas. That's what I'm just saving the gas, and then just the headache of getting into a coin box, having to find it on the menu. I mean, it seems simple, and it is. If it's in your house, yeah, it's easy. But when you have to get in your car, you're going to have to drive. Then you're going to have to get keys. You're going to have to find it. You might have to wait on somebody, not to be standing there any longer playing it. I mean, there's a lot of variables at play just to get to that price change.
Good point.
Stern really can't lose on this at all. I mean, this has so many different positive angles for them that I think over time it's going to be like, we're not even going to look back on it and think, you know, I just think this is the way more and more that you know, to digitize all of this stuff and to allow the flexibility in terms of how they interact. And let's not forget how that Stern can potentially interact with their customers too. Now they actually have an app. Now they can funnel communication through that app to operators, to the, you know, the home buyer. And you know, you're not going to go to the Stern website for news anymore. You're going to go to the Stern app, which we should all be doing anyway, right? So it's really becomes a focal point for them for everything, and will continue to be going forward. I mean, they can't, short of not being able to get the things into the machines.
Yeah.
And sort of fumbling on the code side, which I don't think they will. I mean, they've got a huge team of coders there. They're going to probably continue to add to that going forward as this thing keeps rolling out. I honestly, they can't lose. I really honestly believe that this is.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to be 2 years into this and be like, nah, I see nobody's using this, so maybe we should stop putting these in the game. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Lakeshore said something up here. Lake Show. I think you guys are underestimating how addicted young people are to their phones. They will pay money to connect their phones and share with friends. I agree. I mean, I understand, and Travis had kind of hinted that earlier. There's kind of an age, at least that's what he saw as District 82. Everybody under X age was all about it, flashing every time, and then everybody over a certain age could care less. And we will see, but
pay with Bitcoin. I mean, I don't know, like different payment methods beyond just Interact.
Stern coin.
Like there's, Stern coin. You know, like come up with their own NFT. It's coming. Trust me. All this stuff has to be. They can't not get on this bandwagon, because it's so monstrous right now that they have to be thinking about all this stuff down the road.
Oh,
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, Mike.
No, well, and you gotta believe the new guy coming in from Disney is thinking all this stuff. Like, he's got, I'm sure, an agenda, right? And it's like Disney's way down the road on this stuff. So this is his world that he is now going to bring Stern into. And I think everyone is going to benefit from that greatly, you know. Yeah. Just from an experience point, I think it's just going to up the experience for everybody. Now we're going to pay.
Yeah.
So get ready.
Mike, you had a thought, right? I don't want to.
Well, I was thinking more along the tournament side. Maybe Travis might have some thoughts on it too. But even, you know, using your phone to, if you're playing like Herb style tournaments, buy your entries per game, whatnot, it can automatically track that for you, track prize pools, you know, keep that sort of statistics on your game and stuff too, right?
Yeah, I imagine that they'll probably have something in there with that. I'd be shocked if they didn't.
I just had a random thought, and this would be kind of absurd, but so I think there are people that are worried that at some point in time, hear this out, if you ever could pay using the app, if you could ever pay with your app, there's a chance that Stern would potentially take some of that money, right? That's the thought, right? Of like, if you're going to go through that,
something like that.
Yeah, so like Raw Thrills, like Big Buck Hunter, I know some of those other games, there is like a portion of that goes back to Raw Thrills every single time somebody plays one of those games because of this internet connectivity. So my random thought here is, if Stern really wants more people to pay that extra money to be that insider connected, just like Amazon Prime, what if you're an insider connected, the games are slightly cheaper every single time because you're a Prime member, right? Or you're an Insider Connector Plus. So that extra cost that would go to Stern, instead of it going to Stern, they don't take it, and it's cheaper for you. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you play that much, do you think something like that, like a cost savings, would be enough to push people to become the Insider Connected members? It's a random thought. Dwight said, we are always going to make pinball machines that you can just play like the olden days, complete, fun, deep games that have no... Yes, Dwight, yes, correct. But
I mean, I think the way to go about it, if Stern really wanted to really put some goodwill out there, it would be something, and I don't even know how you would work this out with the locations, but it would almost be like, maybe if they have big, huge community events, that they have something like Stern Coin or Stern Bucks, to where they do offer X amount of free games that you'll win for doing something that's particularly hard.
okay.
Maybe you can do something like that to where it would go each game, but I don't know. I mean, even then, you're kind of dipping into the pockets of operators too at that point. So I don't know if that would be very advantageous for that to happen. But I mean, I don't know. I'm sure this is all things that they've talked about and tried to figure out over the past couple of years already.
Oh, Zach's here. Casselman in the house. What up, gang?
Hold on,
Zach's
Zach.
here.
How
Oh,
you doing?
hey, if Zach's here, I mean, it's perfect timing. It's almost 11 o'clock. So let's just knock this out real quick. If you guys happen to wonder who's running this is the Flip N Out stream. So let's watch this quick video real quick. Boom. You know, gotta have to throw that out there real quick for Zach. So what about a Munsters? Yeah.
I hope that had sound, Joel.
Oh, because it said it was me talking, saying, yeah, they can't hear me. Yeah. No. Well, I don't. Does anybody have a nice bow to put on this? I mean, we got other topics to talk about tonight, but anybody have any final thoughts on all four panelists get 10 seconds to roll their eyes? Oh, because we had to show a commercial. Yeah. And yeah. Anybody want to, out of the three, anybody want to just wrap this up?
Wait 6 months till you can get your own.
There we go. Well, good point. Good point. The reality is, none of us, we really don't have any actions, right? The only action we have is if we see a Godzilla on location, pull out your phone and see what happens. Otherwise, all of us that want to put them on our home games, Q1.
We shall wait and see.
There we
Find
go,
one,
Craig.
go play it. If you like it,
There we
order
go.
one. If you don't,
Yeah.
don't bother.
What percentage of operated games these days are traditional placed in a location model versus arcades that own and operate their own games? That's an interesting point. I mean,
Who knows?
yeah, I don't have that.
Any numbers we give will be just completely made up. I mean, I
Yeah.
know people that do the same thing, but it's funny because a lot of it depends on location. So I know somebody that has a GNR on location at a pool hall, and it just rips up everything in sight. I mean, it just destroys all the stern pins, all the old pins, everything. And then at the same time, I know other operators that have a GNR next to stern pins, and the GNR makes less than Adam's Family and less than Monster Bash, and the stern pins are just ruling the roost. So a lot of it just depends on location, and I guess just whoever your demographic is at that
your
time.
clientele. Yeah.
Does the pool hall have a jukebox? Is that basically what the GNR has become? You know,
It does. Well, it does have a jukebox, as a matter of fact, one of those fancy ones.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of fancy, I don't know. I'm just going to use it as a transition. Why not? But let's take a look here. Here we go. Next topic.
F11.
I just hit the button. I got you, Travis. Okay.
Look at that baby.
Look at that, baby. So, Mike, have you owned a Jurassic Park?
I did actually.
did.
I did own a Jurassic Park, and I sold it like 3 weeks ago.
Okay,
Actually.
so you've had
Yes,
plenty of time
well,
on it. Yeah.
that was to make room for Godzilla, and I mean, I only have so much room, and my whole collection can't be Keith Elwin games, so
I mean,
I had to move on from it.
it
I mean, it could be
It
definitely,
could.
definitely could be.
Yeah. That's
Mike, yes, it can.
Travis, that's where Travis is at. I think he's just Keith Elwin from here on out.
I don't have Jurassic Park though, and I don't have Iron Maiden anymore, so maybe I need to get JP home pen and just put like a Keith Elwin picture on the top of it or something. I don't know.
So, initial thoughts. I know we've heard a lot of opinions here, but we can talk about pricing, we can talk about the concept of home pin, or we could just talk about the pin itself. I watched a good bit of the stream, and I don't know, we can dive in. Whoever wants to go first. Just initial thoughts now that this has been released. The last time we had this conversation, it was we were pretty confident it was going to be Jurassic Park, and we were pretty confident it was Jack Danger, but here we've actually seen it. Chat, feel free to throw out your thoughts as well. I don't know. Mike, go ahead. Craig, you take it off. No, Craig, you got it.
Well, I think just in looking at this game versus when Jurassic Park first came out, was it 2019 or 2018? I think it's 2019. It looks like they've gone back to the drawing board a little bit as far as the art. Like I do like the art on the apron. I think the integration of the T-Rex head at the back of the playfield is very nice. And I think, considering this is supposed to be a bit of a stripped down thing, there's wireframes on this. There's a couple of ramps that you can see. So, I think it looks pretty damn good for a pinball machine that's supposed to be a little more bare bones. It doesn't have a third flipper, obviously. It doesn't have, any sort of an upper playfield or anything too complicated to it, like the Raptor pit or anything like that. But, I like the fact that the T-Rex head's spitting out balls for you on a multi-ball. I think that's excellent. So my only problem with it is, of course, which you can't see on this picture, but the LCD screen is pathetically small.
Yeah.
So what are you gonna do? Like you're staring at this thing to get your score. It's horrific.
It's literally,
I'd rather have I'd rather have
exactly.
them put a cheaper DMD device. Honestly, in this thing, I think that would be actually more entertaining than a ridiculously small LCD screen. Almost go retro in a little bit.
Like heavy metal.
It.
Like heavy metal.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Just do that,
Zach.
But so I think they did a very nice job with this machine. I'm more impressed with this machine, I think, than I was when I saw the Star Wars pin. I was like, but this one I'm like,
not
bad.
The moving
not
head.
Bad.
Zach, if you're still in chat, do you think you would, if the game cost $200 more, but it had a normal size LCD screen, do you think you'd actually sell more? Do you think the smaller screen actually impacts sales? Just curious. I don't know. Do you guys have
I think it does. I think it does.
Yeah.
You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of Zoolander when he's at the center for ants.
Is this a school for ants? Yeah.
It needs to be at least 6 times bigger than this.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I know everyone jokes that it's leftover screens from the Star Wars pin, on the inside of the game that they're using up there. But I mean, LCDs are, well, I mean, maybe supply issues now, but LCDs are usually fairly cheap. They're not that big expense, right? I don't see why they couldn't make it even a little bigger.
Mm-hmm.
The resolution of that LCD is
Well, isn't the overall cabinet itself smaller? I know the playfield's not smaller.
The playfield's the same. Yeah,
definitely.
They said the overall height is slightly shorter, and the overall depth of the cabinet is shorter, which is hilarious because Jack's 6'7", so you have this huge guy playing on a tiny game. Yeah,
I'm just wondering how they can make the depth shorter but still have a standard size playfield in it.
For one, there's nothing you can see there. The ramp does not, there's nothing that goes past the back of the game, right? So, I mean, some of these games have ramps that go in and out of the playfield. So, I mean, even if it's just that little bit, and then on the back, Yeah.
So there's usually like 6 inches behind the backboard to the back of the pin. So is that sort of
It
eliminated?
must be gone.
Yeah.
I don't know, Zach. You're in. You may or may not still be in chat, but Zach he did a whole unboxing video of a Star Wars pin, the pin. So I'm curious if he saw how those were put in there. But yeah, Seraph brings up a good point here where there are more. Are there more moving things in this than the pro version of Jurassic Park?
Yes. The only thing that moves is the truck.
Yeah.
And that's just a ball on a stick that goes from one side to the other on the ball.
Are there drop targets in the original Pro?
There is no drop targets in the Pro.
You just have the post that comes up in the left end lane.
So this has a set of drop targets and it has the moving T-Rex head. I do think it's kind of nuts that the 2 pop bumpers in the back are 1 coil and the slings in the front are 1 coil. So you see that when the ball hits the right sling, both slings pop. It's like,
yeah, that was bugging my OCD big time.
But
the issue I had, like, if the ball's slinging back and forth really quick between the slings and they're firing at the same time, I don't know that sometimes the ball will come across to the other sling faster than that other sling has time to re-pop again to knock the ball over if it's going back and forth fast, right?
Correct. Yeah, I noticed that a few times. It seemed like it made the gameplay slightly weird down by the flippers whenever they were firing at the same time. It almost, like, when I first saw that, I thought something like a switch was just completely closed or something like that. And it was just shotgunning itself. But yeah, it turns out that it's just operating on the same coil. And just, I don't know. I don't really like that. If I'm playing on it and I'm looking down my flippers, I don't like the idea of just seeing everything just firing at one time. That was kind of driving me nuts seeing that happen.
So the coils are firing twice as much as they would normally too, right?
Yeah, good point. So Zach is saying it's 1 node board. Is it actually, Zach, can you answer this? Is it 1? He said, Wason said during the stream that it was 1 coil. But is it, like, I don't know how you design a mech to have 1 coil that moves. If there's some linkage or something you would have to have. Is it actually 1 coil or is it just a node board? Are they just saving cost by sticking with 1 node board? 2 coils. Zach, okay, perfect. Okay, that makes way more sense.
So then if they were firing at the same time, were they supposed to do that? Or was
it's 1 node board. So maybe, Dwight, you can answer that. I'm assuming a node board can only drive X amount of coils. So if you know right at the beginning that, well, let's try to think this through. There's a diverter at the top because I know if you hold the left button, so that has to be a coil. There's a coil for the drop targets. And the reset coil. So there's 2. A coil for the pops would be 3. A coil for both flippers, 4, 5. And a coil that runs, if they're treating it as the same, 6. Is a node board limited to 6 coils? Or not necessarily individual coils, but like there's got to be math there. They have to know this. If there's only going to put 1 node board in the game, then this is the limit versus putting a second one in. All coils handled by 1 node board instead of needing 2. Exactly. So there's got to be a set limit, right? That node board can only drive, I'm guessing 6.
Well, yeah, I'm going to assume that both slingshots then are sort of triggering the same switch through the node board, which is firing both coils. So the game doesn't know whether you've hit the left or the right sling. It just says sling was hit.
Yeah.
Fire both coils.
There's an auto plunger though. That would be 7. Dwight, 2 switches. So yeah, so there's an individual switch for each sling. That makes sense. But those 2 switches are triggering 1. It sounds like the node board is what is driving or triggering and telling those 2 coils to turn off or to turn on.
Less switches, less wiring. Yeah, then I guess the node boards maybe they're switch related, right? If there's less switches triggered through the node board, the node that it's a sling and just fires both of them because it doesn't know if it was the left or the right.
Okay. Cabinet and playfield have different material. Is the playfield itself made of something different than a normal commercial playfield?
Oh.
1 high-powered node board Yeah, there's got to be an electrical limitation per node board. Well, maybe this is a better question. If there's only one node board in a pin, how many node boards are typically in a commercial game? 2, 3? I don't.
Is that like 8 or 9?
Yeah, I think it's more than that.
There's a lot.
Scribble, it's made
My
of
Game of
string
Thrones
cheese.
had like 6 or 7, I think.
6 or 7. Well, I mean, one thing I'm seeing is and I could be wrong, but I don't think I'm seeing any LED lights. Like all of the lights, like color changing.
Yeah, color changers. Yeah.
I don't see any color changing LED lights. I think it's just. I'd be curious under these. I wonder what's cheaper at this point. Are they LED? Are they little LED boards, or are they back to bulbs? I don't know. Yes, it's a flavor of MDF, but we are getting away from that in my knowledge. Interesting. What would be crazy is if these MDF playfields hold up better. Like, wouldn't that? I mean, 2 under playfield. Playfield has a decal rather than direct print.
Okay, so what do you guys think about the layout itself?
My initial impression, and that's what both Jack and Wason were saying in stream. I mean, this game's fast. Like, it is a the bad joke here is it flows better than Halloween, but I know we've joked a lot about Halloween's flow, but it actually, like, legit, that orbit whips around real quick. That left ramp, if you hit that ramp with speed, the jump ramp is pretty cool. It whips around. This horseshoe ramp. Oh, what am I doing? I'm pointing at my screen. I got a pointer here. This right here. I mean, this is straight up Gomez. Gomez had to have helped with this guy. I mean, that is a Gomez ramp if I ever saw one, right? I mean, this thing whips around and it's so fast. My overall impression, I mean, there's nothing that stops the ball. There's no scoop. There's nothing that stops the ball except for when the T-Rex grabs it, right? So when you drop these targets down, it goes back. It must be like a 180 ramp and it stops the ball. Otherwise, even this Raptor pin, it doesn't stop the ball. It just bounces back there and then dribbles back out. So the game it's quick.
Yeah, see, I think the Raptor pin is probably the weakest part of the layout.
Is there a switch in there? Like, is it a target or a rollover?
There's a target right here. So there's a target right in the back. So for that to register, there's a gate that allows the ball to go that way. So you have to hit that, and then it just dribbles back out. And what is kind of neat is, and Jack showed it, if you hit this right orbit with enough speed, or if you plunge the ball with enough speed, and you literally don't touch the game, that ball will come down. It'll bounce off the left flipper, bounce over to the right flipper, and literally roll up into that target.
That happens on Metallica a lot too.
Metallica,
that in the scoop.
Yeah. So, okay, this is not to... Okay, I'm going to derail us for 1 second. But we have TPN friends that just got a Metallica. They got it used. And they got it for less money than this game.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's like, if you got $5,600 in your pocket, do you want to buy this? Or do you want to buy a used Metallica? I mean...
Well, that was more of an indicator to the people selling it, too. I mean... To find a Metallica for that price,
they got a good deal.
Yeah,
that's ridiculous. Insane. Yeah. Birdo Drink, I'm buying a JP Pro this weekend for $4,900. Seems like a way better deal. Yeah, it is.
I mean, I've talked to a few dealers, and so far sales have been very sluggish with this so far. Lower than what Star Wars was. Now, of course, that's obviously because of the theme, but I am a little bit surprised that they've been kind of this sluggish, all things considered. But that just goes to show you that the people really buying the pins right now are really wanting to buy the main pins, the pros, the premiums, and the LEs. And I think we're not going to see sales on this home pin really pick up until closer to Christmas time, when non-pinball people really start to take notice of it.
Yeah. I mean, Zach right here, he's in chat, Flipping Out Pinball. I mean... I hope you get randos, like random people calling, hey, I want a pinball machine
closer
for
to
my
Christmas
game room, right?
too.
I mean, Christmas.
Yeah, give it another month. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't. I mean, I don't think any distributor right now has the ability to prepare for Christmas and put games on shelf. I mean, it just. But this is a game that you could do that. I don't know. I mean, $4,600. This level is perfect for the audience it's aiming for. Yeah, Zach has mentioned that before. If you have like a family leisure center that sells ping pong, foosball, being able to sell this game, I mean, they'll sell, but it was interesting listening to Dennis with Eclectic Gamers podcast, and you could tell he's almost mad. Like, there are people that have bought Mando game day one and still haven't got Mando, and yet here's Stern. They released Godzilla, and now they're releasing this. Like, come on, like don't.
Well, in the case of this, though,
Yeah.
like Zach said earlier, though, isn't it made from different materials so that you may not have, the different supply issues with this than you would with anything on a real Stern? But who knows?
I mean, I think they've said though that that line is going like 6 days a week right now, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it is either. I mean, this is still going to take up a line, right? I mean, an assembly line. I don't know. I don't know where the bottleneck is on Stern. I don't work there. I don't know if it's waiting on parts. I don't know if they have like just we have 99% of the parts needed to do this run, but we obviously aren't going to touch it until that last part comes in, or if it's they're behind on materials.
It has to be pretty substantial, though.
Yeah.
I know people that got a Mando Premium day one, and they still have not gotten it yet. And there's already Godzilla LEs shipping out.
Yeah.
And then there's already Jurassic Park, the home pin. So,
well, do you think the part shortage is unique game parts, or do you think there's like, hey, we only have so much plywood, so where are we going to delegate this plywood to, or is it?
I think it would have to be unique game parts. I think it's one of those things. It's just like all industries across the board. Once you have all the parts in, that's when you fire it up, you get it out, and then you just try to go to the next one. That's all you can do, really.
Sure.
I mean, it's kind of one of those things too. Stern is almost a victim of their own success at this point, that they're sticking with their normal schedule, or at least as close to it as possible. And you're doing that in the middle of a shortage of material as well. And that's kind of a blessing and a curse, with the blessing being that you can keep churning out new titles. The curse being that means you're not going to get as many out to people. But the difference is it's not like any other manufacturer in pinball is doing this right now. I mean, the closest you got is what? Jersey Jack putting out Wonka and GNR at the same time for a little while. And I guess Spooky trying to do Halloween and Ultraman at the same time. So, I mean, at least it's more pinball, but I understand people's frustration of not having a pin for months at a time, and then seeing multiple other pins get released too.
Well, one thing like Spooky has not sold any more. Like Spooky hasn't sold any more Halloweens or Ultramans than they did the first day, because they're all gone, right? Like they sold out of all their product, and they're still sold out of all their product for however many months straight. JJP has essentially sold out. They haven't sold out, but they've sold. Like, that's the one thing Stern's done, is they sold out. And then 3 months later, they release another pin that they sell out. And then 3 months later, they release another pin that they sell out. So they're like, part of me was like, why don't they take December off and not release a game, put it on hold and play a little catch up? But does that actually help Stern? Or does it make more sense to sell out again, to sell out another 600 LEs of something new,
If it's game specific shortages, I don't know that they can do that, right? I mean, they're going to be at the mercy of whatever they have the parts for. If they have parts for, Elvira's, then Elvira's going to hit the line until they run out of parts for that, until the next game they get parts for. So, I mean, I think it's even hard for them to say, well, we're going to be making this game on this date, because it all depends on the parts.
Amiga Cami here in chat says they're getting one. I don't mean this in a rude way, but why? Like, what was the selling factor for you? I'm curious, Amiga. What was the selling factor for you to pull the trigger on this? I mean, the other three of you, did any of you consider buying this game?
A JP home pin?
Yeah.
No.
I don't think this is for us. I think this is more an entry level. Somebody wants to get into pinball. This is what they buy, and then they sort of move on from there. This is not somebody who has a collection going and then buying a home.
Travis, point at your
three
game.
of us can just turn around, just point to our Avengers. There's a really good reason why we're not getting the home pin.
I get it.
Yeah.
I bet it plays. I bet it plays well though. I bet it's still fun. But
It looks fun.
Oh yeah,
I
it
look
looks
at the.
great. I think it looks
Yeah,
great.
I just
Why haven't we gotten more jump ramps? That's what I want to know.
Good
Like
question. Yeah.
RoboCop, yeah, I have had one of those. That is one of the best features in a game. The jump ramps are awesome.
Yeah, and it's one of
Yeah.
those things that it's easy to do in terms of it not costing much to do it. It's just figuring out the geometry of everything. And I think it's just the way I view home pins, and you guys can tell me if you agree or disagree, but I kind of look at it like a modern day solid state. That's the way it feels to me with how fast it is and how there's really not much to it per se with the overall layout
Mm-hmm.
and with the rule set being very simplified, but it kind of just feels like a modern day solid state to me. So I like the idea of that. I don't know how long something like that would last in a collection though. If I'm playing it, I feel like after 2 or 3 days I would be done with
Yeah,
it.
you'd be done.
Yeah, but you're not the normal player. I mean, 2 hour 45-minute game of GNR over here. So yeah, it's speaking as
It's for the very casual
Yeah.
player for sure.
Do you think it would last in your collection right now?
It
'Cause
would-
you have a
no,
Hot Wheels, you
it-
have a Deadpool,
it would
and
not.
you have a
It-
Ninja Turtle.
it would be a game that I would be confident that I could beat eventually. That would be a
If you
game.
had to lose
Yeah.
one game out of your collection for this,
No.
what would you drop?
That-
What would you drop for it?
if I between TNA, Deadpool, and Turtles, that's
Yep.
not.
Don't you have a Hot Wheels still too?
I don't own a Hot Wheels. I drop it though.
Right, you don't own it, but I mean, which one would you be willing to drop?
I mean, of those four of the four
if
games,
any-
if I'm including
if
Hot
any.
Wheels, Hot Wheels would be on the bottom of my list. That would be the first one I'd let. But it also makes sense. I don't own Hot Wheels. But speaking of Hot Wheels though, you talked about a jump ramp. In Hot Wheels, they have a ramp shot. And what's interesting is if you don't hit that shot hard enough, they cut out a section of the plastic ramp so that if you hit that apex, it would dribble down, right? And I realized as soon as I saw this jump ramp, I'm like, that's the point of a jump ramp. Like if you don't hit it hard enough, it falls down. But if you hit it hard enough, it looks really cool. Like Hot Wheels would do great with a jump ramp in that spot, it would fit the theme, and it also fits the same function as cutting out the plastic. So I think, Mike, you brought up a good point. Why don't more games have jump ramps?
Yeah.
Less material too.
Yeah, I got Amiga here.
I think
wanna...
they did a great job again with the artwork on this game to make it look fuller, I think, than it actually is. So I just think they had time to go back and retool a little bit on the artwork side. I actually think the artwork's better on this playfield than the original.
The artwork is pretty good. It looks
it's pretty damn good.
Yeah.
And the detail on the plastic is excellent too. If you go to the website and take a look, I'm most impressed, I think, with the artwork on this game. They really, it's like they went back to the assets that they had and they really dug in deep and made the best of it. Whereas I feel like that original pin, it was a bit slapdash to me.
I mean,
I felt like
I think we can all agree this is the best pin. This is the best home pin, right? I mean, if you guys had to own one, would you be buying what is it, Spider-Man? Jurassic Park. Oh, Travis.
Yeah.
Well,
they did a really good job of disguising the home pin of this game for sure. When you look at it, I mean, anybody who may be newer to the hobby would look at this game and wouldn't be able to tell the difference between this and another Stern Pro or something beside it.
So I want to give Amiga. So we asked Amiga here, Amiga Cami, why they bought it, and they said I have a big collection of 3/4 scale home pins already. So this is a natural evolution. So it fits their collection. It looks really fun. It reminds me of my favorite pinball games, and I'm a huge JP fan. Makes sense. And I'm not a very good player, and the complex rules are hard for me to understand. So it's perfect. You know what? That sounds like it fits.
Yep.
It makes sense.
Sounds like
why
it
you
was
pulled the
made
trigger.
for.
Yeah.
Sold.
So my parents have said they have said they're finishing their basement as well, and they've told me that they would be willing. They already have 2 arcade cabinets that I've put in their house that I've fixed up and done stuff, but they have a slot that they're like, we would be okay with having a pinball machine here if you find one that you think would fit well. And what's interesting is when I initially saw this, that was a thought. I was like, does this make sense? Like, would this be a good game to put in my parents' basement? I think the answer is yes, but at the same time, price point. Somebody said if we discuss price point for $5,600, there's a lot of other pins that I could put in their basement that I think they might enjoy more.
Well,
See you, Dwight, by the way. Thanks for being here.
MSRP is 46, right?
Yeah.
There's a 45.
I think it's $45.99.
Because I know it would not shock me one bit if this did go for mid fives come Christmas time. I mean, you know how it is. Once you get into that Christmas season and there's a crunch to get a gift, there's nothing else available.
Yeah.
I mean, that's when prices go up a little bit.
Let's look at here I had this pulled up, but you are right that the overall, I mean, the art on this game is it's good.
It's better than the Pro. Actually, it's my favorite artwork out of the four.
Yeah. It's
the Translite or the back glass, whatever it is, looks pretty awesome.
They have different side art on the, so this side looks different than the other side. I wish we had Greg Bone, right? Greg Bone is like the Jurassic Park guy, and he bought a premium. He had to buy a premium because of the art. He liked the art on the premium better than the Pro. Like that was his deciding. So I'm curious what his take is on the art here. But
did they take the speaker grills and rotate them?
They did
on their side.
They did, and
so
I'm
they
also
can accommodate the small screen.
Yeah, I'm also curious here. I see a speaker here, but I don't.
The speakers.
Yeah,
it's smaller than the speakers, but I don't think there's a speaker here. I don't
just
think
the one. I can see the circle and the one on the right.
I think there's only one speaker.
It's the only thing that stands out is that little ass screen.
I think it is only one speaker, as I recall, and then you can add another, you can add another one if you want to make it stereo.
Now, what I think
is there a woofer?
Zach, is there a woofer? Do you know? I mean, he's messed with these. What I think's crazy is somebody asked in chat, does the topper work on this game? And they said the answer is yes.
Yes.
So $600 topper to a $4,600 game.
Here's what I'm curious about, and maybe this is just because of the parts that they have in this pen. I was really curious as to why they did not add the Insider Connect to this. I would feel like if you're trying to capture a totally different audience than the pinball audience, that might be a way to get them hooked in a broader scale, to see that there's more than just this particular pen, since they're calling it the Stern Pinball Universe.
Yeah.
I'm kind of curious about that decision.
Thank you, Cos.
Well, it's not going into a location, so it hasn't the whole line been that this is primarily for location pinball first. So if this is a game that's not going to be on location, maybe they don't see a reason to put it in.
I mean, yeah, because that's the whole draw, right? To get people on location to get those, I mean, achievement-wise, this game, somebody had said that about code. They said, think about it. And I think it may have been Zach with the Pinball Show said, they're not going to do code updates on this, right? Like, home buyers are not going to think about updating the code. So there's a good chance that whatever code is released with this game is done. All right? So we may have, the other night when it was streamed, we may have seen everything that's ever going to be in this game. Manu, Honey, I Shrunk the Pin. Yeah.
Who did the rules? Do we know who did the rules on it?
I think it's between Jack and Wason. Wason was the main.
Yeah. So Jack had some input on the rules too.
Yeah, and as far as I can tell, I mean, who all watched the stream? I watched about, I don't know, half of it, 45 minutes of it. It seems like there are specific shots. Like each shot has a dinosaur, so it's like you hit a shot enough times, you collect the dinosaur.
Like Attack from Mars.
Yeah, there's there's kind of this rescue. You see these little guys here at the bottom. So certain ones of those will light up, and if you hit those, you rescue a guy, and once you get so many rescues, you achieve a wizard mode. I think it's once you collect all the dinosaurs, you achieve a wizard mode. There's 2 multi-balls. There's a Raptor Pin multi-ball and then the T-Rex multi-ball. And I think it's kind of a, once you do all that, you're at the end of the game. Now, I will say they didn't show, like, both of those guys, like, Jack's a good player. He did not beat the game on stream. So I don't know if he did that on purpose or if it's actually that hard or challenging. I don't know. Why spend so much money on a new design to not make it a commercial release with coin mechs? Because that's not what they're trying to do, Cause, right? I mean, this is meant for the home. Remember, this is in the affordable home game section.
How new of a design is it, though? I mean, you can still see similarities to the pin games as well. right? Like it looks like
Well,
some
here.
stuff maybe moved around a little bit, but like that
Uh,
whole multi-ball where there's a passive multi-ball that was on all the home pin games where you just set a ball on top of a little switch on all the other home games. That's not there anymore. I think they got rid of that with the Star Wars.
I'm trying to get a top-down view here.
I'm more curious how that entire family has not moved from
Yeah.
that pin to the next pin.
This
Same exact
yeah,
photo.
this picture is the exact same photo. That dad is still just eagerly waiting for that boy
He's
to
right
drain
in there.
so he can go next. But
He's really coaching that kid up. That's how I imagine the left-offs were at home.
it's a solid Photoshop mech. Coin mech
I
is
know.
$50. Why not make it an option?
Mike, is that how you are when Carter plays? Are you just like right there, just watching?
Yeah, I'm right over his shoulder.
Yeah.
I got my video camera over my yeah.
Yeah. Carter's on a stool.
No, he's taller than me now, actually. He's not mini pinballer anymore.
I see Joel, I see Mike, I see Travis, I see Bobbie. Well done, Manu. I see Bobbie. I think this is the best picture we got here. F11. All right. So on the left side of Jurassic Park is the same big old target. I don't know what's over here on the right side of. I think it's just a target.
That's the pen on Jurassic Park. I don't think there's anything on.
So-
Is that a stand up there?
Over here is the pin. I think it's just a stand-up target, but you have a big orbit. This ramp is further up and loops that way. You have 3 drops, but instead of going up here, you go into the T-Rex mouth. And they move. So it's 2 ramps, 1 set of drops, 2 spinners, 2 wire forms, big old target on the left. And the only thing he did different was over here, instead of this target being here, he moved it in the back and made a little pin area. Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
Huh.
Makes you think, doesn't it?
Right. You take the right ramp, slide it down a little bit.
Yeah.
And you're close, just right there.
Plus, too, the reality is, though, a lot of these games, if you get outside of Elwyn, a lot of them will start looking very similar because there's only so much you can do geometry-wise underneath that class. You know what I mean? Especially with the home pin, that you're not going to be able to do near as much design-wise. It has to be very simplified regardless. I think we're always going to see some similarities to it. But, I mean, I don't know. I mean, looking at both of these, I personally, just off the top of my head, I prefer the Star Wars home pin layout, but I still think the JP layout is pretty good as well. Like, I don't think you can go wrong with either one.
I think they're both fun. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah, they both look great.
Yeah. Come on. What is it? Amiga Cami said they basically that Stern or Jack originally designed it with a passive multi-ball mech, but the Stern guys told him to not use it, so he got rid of it and did a captive ball instead. Good point. There is a captive ball here that's not in this other one. Be More Birds, thank you for the follow, and Shmurda, no idea how to say that. Skmurt, thank you for the follow.
I mean, I imagine with these games, you know, if you're given a design to do them, that they're probably telling you have to have, you know, this sort of mech, these sort of mechs.
Yeah.
You don't have as much freedom on these as Elwyn or, you know, Borg or whatever would have with theirs for sure. They've got to be kept within quite a structure of the bomb and whatever else too.
I mean, it almost feels like it's a here, open up the SketchUp file. Anything that's in this one, you could put to the next one. So it's just shifting around a little bit. Wow, I have not looked at these side by side, but they really have pretty much. I mean, it is 2 spinners, boom, boom. Over here, 2 spinners, boom, boom. I mean, it's like
the left ramp location too, pretty much in the same area, and then the left
drop
this
targets
was over here. Yeah, drop targets a little further back. I mean, we're not saying this to discredit Jack or what he's done. I mean, he's still designed.
I think he's working within
but,
the limitations given to him.
Yeah,
to be honest,
there are clearly limitations. Manu here asked a really good question, and maybe Zach, you can answer. But he said, "Do you know if the flippers are micro switches instead of leaf switches?" Tried the Star Wars home pin and the flippers were so hard to press I quit mid-game. I don't know that answer. I'd have to look at Zach did make an unboxing video, but I don't know if it shows the actual flipper mix. I would be amazed if they, I mean, you can't, like, micro switch is that much cheaper than a leaf switch to completely change that. I don't know. I don't know. Final thoughts? Anybody have any other final? I mean, we know these games are not for the four of us. We know even for the majority of people watching this stream. But I do think, personally, I got to give Jack credit. I think it looks fun. If they have one of these at Expo, I will gladly play it.
I would recommend a first-time pinball buyer to buy one of these games for sure. Entry level, you're saving a few bucks. It's going to be reliable compared to maybe buying, an old Bobbie Williams in the same price range, something like that. For somebody new into the hobby, it's definitely something that I would say is a good idea for sure.
I think this is a stronger layout than Halloween and Ultraman. So, I mean, it's on a home pin. So I don't think too many people can argue with that. I mean, you look at it, you look how the ball is actually flowing, you look how the shots are actually, you can just jam out on this pin, and that's fun for people to do. It's not fun to hit a ball somewhere and just have to wait forever for the ball to return, and you don't get that out of this pin. So I think people that buy it will be very happy with it. And I think even players like us that are used to, the usual pins, I think it'll still be fun.
Yes.
Sure.
You might be surprised how fun it is, actually.
Yeah.
Exactly.
The challenge, though, is when will we ever play one? Because it won't be on location, right? So
we'll play one at
it'll be at a show or somebody's house.
Yeah. Good point. All right. Well, speeding games we all want to play. I'm so good at transition. I don't know if you guys know that, but I try really hard at it. Play it at Toys R Us. Well done, Saul. Speaking of games we want to play, Godzilla. Mike, you're going to be able to play one any day now. But Travis is the only one of the four of us that's touched one so far. So, initial impressions, Travis. I know you've oogled and googled and loved it and just you love everything. But how did it feel? Tell me about those shots.
Okay, so the shots are actually really weird. It's really weird when you first play it. They are hard to find. It's not where you expect them to be at all. So it took me a little while to figure it out. It took me a couple of games, and it was just, I don't know. It's one of those things to where this design, it's still fun. I'm not saying it's not fun. It's a lot of fun. It's just this design is radically different than anything I've ever played on before. And that scoop is actually, it's not easy to hit, and it's in a very dangerous spot with that pop. It's very dangerous, and it plays a central part in the game, so you're going to be aiming for that part a lot. Although it does have a pretty cool rebound effect that if the ball comes down, it does hit off the pop bumper into the scoop. So I'd have to think that was intentional. There is a ton of flow in this game, though. There is one trouble shot, though, and I'm not sure if this is based on the operator setup or what it is, but the shot that's just left to the building that does the quick U-turn.
This thing right here?
Yep. On both pins that I played on, the one up at Wisconsin and the one down here in Oklahoma City, both of them fed right back down the middle the majority of the time.
So if
and that
right down the middle.
Ball save off that. Yeah. It just fed straight down the middle, just rocking.
Birdo Drink is saying the shot to the right of the magnet then out of the building. Yeah, same thing. Is straight down the middle on two different pins.
It's straight down the middle. So, I mean, something's going to have to be done about that. I don't know if there's any way to get a quick ball save, or maybe there has to be an adjustment made on.
You think they could pulse the magnet? They could pulse the magnet to draw it to the left a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, it might. I don't know. I just know that shot, it just comes screaming right back down the middle majority of the time. Like at least 90% of the time, it was coming right down the middle.
So Seraph is saying don't shoot it. But that's not the problem. If you shoot it, it's going to go up. What happens if you shoot this shot? It goes where? If you actually shoot straight into this?
Yeah, it just 180s right back.
Oh, so you shoot this
around
and
the building,
then
the building.
Oh, so the straight down the middle is not the ball coming out. You're saying if it goes in, it's spitting out the front of the building.
If that. It's not just it's like a rocket shot out of there. I haven't figured out how to go around that, because you sometimes do have to aim at that shot. You sometimes do. And then other times you'll accidentally hit that shot as well.
When I played the Pro, it wasn't straight down the middle, but the scoop is so hard to hit, and that's how you start a mode, so it's pretty frustrating, and it's super dangerous. The fitting name, Salty22. Thank you.
So I will say, without a shadow of a doubt, even after only about 5 plays on this, it's probably the most difficult Elwyn layout there is.
Really?
It's probably the most difficult layout I've played on a Stern in a long time.
I'd love to hear that.
But it is a lot of fun.
But
it is challenging.
Is it difficult overall, or is it just a handful of shots? Because Keith on Loser Kid said he feels this is easier than Jurassic Park. He still feels Jurassic Park is his most difficult game. So what is it? Jurassic Park, you have the O. Is it the O letter that's the real tough shot?
Yeah,
or is it the S? Oh, yeah.
For me, honestly, the left ramp was super tough for me, and you have to hit the left ramp in order to light the mode.
Right here.
Yeah. Yep. I got a lot of rejects out of there too. Because the ramp is on the backside, so just follow it around.
Yep.
And sometimes I'd get a half ramp and then it would come back down.
So on a Pro, this goes up here and then 180's behind and it goes across, right? Isn't that
must be a steep climb behind the back box and the backboard.
It looks fun. Left ramp equals left orbit shot. What do you mean left ramp equals left orbit? Isn't it? Because the other shot is if you hit this flipper and it goes this way, it actually is also the left orbit, right? Doesn't it do that? Or no? Where does this ball come out? When you hit this...
Yeah, it'll come back that way. Yep.
Comes down that way.
Yep. Also, I mean, there's a lot of cool shots on it. It's just not easy. I'll just put it that way.
Travis?
Avoiding playing Hit Dude at Earthshaker, yes. Colin is correct.
Check out the new SDM straight down the middle gameplay video. We'll think about it.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, though. I mean, it's got spinners for days. It's really badass when Blue Oyster Cult comes on. The Godzilla song comes on. Light Show is surprisingly really good considering the early code.
Yeah.
I was surprised by that. I mean, overall, you see the DNA in the game of where it's going to go. So, like I said, the shots aren't where you expect them to be early on, but once you get them dialed in, it's a lot of fun to hit. That floating flipper is a lot of fun. So I tried to get it up the ramp with that flipper, and I couldn't do it.
Right here.
But you could loop pretty consistent. And I don't know if that's just because of game setup again, because I've heard some people be able to do it themselves. I just haven't been able to do it yet. But the tail whip shot is a lot of fun as well.
That's where you go down here, and then it comes roaring out. Yeah,
very well back to the left flipper. I'm shocked at how well that shot works.
Wind Raider, evening, fellows. Godzilla was a lot of fun to play. Yeah, that's what we're talking. If you have any input on what you're seeing, is Zach drunk? Is this middle spinner bigger than a normal spinner? Zach was saying that on the pinball show that he was saying that this spinner he feels is a bigger spinner, like physically bigger than a normal spinner.
I think it is. It looked like it to be when I was looking at it in person.
Interesting.
I didn't have anything to really compare it off to, but it did look like it in person.
Zach, cough.
Game of Thrones and Star Trek has a bigger spinner on the left orbit as well.
Got that fat spinner on there. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was raving about this because right up the middle. I mean, Deadpool. You got the Wolverine spinner right up the middle. I mean, yeah. And then Jurassic Park, you have that the Raptor spinner. So yeah, you give me a spinner right up the middle.
Yeah,
it's gonna feel good.
I'll tell you what. It's amazing that all 3 of these spinner rips could be top tier spinner rips.
Oh boy.
Across the board in any game, and there's 3 of them. It is shocking how fun the left one is. It's shocking how fun whenever you do the heat ray for the one that's up top, how that is. And then it's even more shocking how fun the one on the right is, because that's actually really difficult to hit. So when you do hit it, it's highly rewarding, especially once the multi-ball starts.
So you're just avoiding this entire right side is what I'm hearing. You're struggling with everything over here.
Oh yeah, I'm a total struggle bus on that. I can hit the hell out of the top bumper though.
Hey, I'm happy for you. Yeah, Mr. Snailman says that according to Keith, the right ramp was not designed to hit with the upper flipper. So
that would explain why I can't do it then. Okay.
Well, yeah.
that makes sense.
Yes, the middle spinner is bigger than the other two. Okay, well done, Zach. We didn't know what you're talking about. Yeah, no LCD spinner with that wide spinner. So this is way to go, Keith. Yeah.
Another feed on it that I was pleasantly surprised about. So if you use that upper flipper, right, the floating flipper,
Yeah.
and you hit it around the loop, if
Mm-hmm.
it does not have enough speed to make it around the left orbit, it'll just come back down the heat ray, and it'll just perfectly feed back
Which
to your
is
left.
the middle right here.
Yep, the middle spinner. Yep.
So it goes up, and then it'll dribble down. Doesn't Avengers has a shot like that, right? Where if it
Similar,
is it a
but
Black
this one
Panther?
works
If you
out
don't
a
hit
lot
it,
better.
it works even.
Yeah, this one works a lot better.
Keith it's like he's good at like designing these things. Mike, you have one just a few days out, right?
Yes.
So what I don't know. How are you sleeping at night? What are you looking forward to?
I have actually. This is a problem I have. I watch the streams very little, and
Okay.
not because I don't want to see the game. I don't want to spoil the game. I want to enjoy it for myself.
Sure.
I want to explore the rules. I want to get into the game. I want to learn it. I want to do it myself. So I've watched a little bit of it. I've studied the playfield. I think it looks like it's probably his most interesting layout for sure. There's a lot of play in the middle of the playfield, like on the sides. It looks like he likes to add, well, if you look at Jurassic Park, right, you have the pen on the left side, you have the helicopter ramp on the right side. It looks like there's a lot. I don't know. I think, well, there's a lot of wire forms. The only thing that worried me was flow, right? I mean, the wire forms are long, speed.
Oh.
Right, the ball is going to take a long time getting back to your flipper. If you're, hitting ramps back and forth, are you going to lose that sense of speed because of how much wire form the ball has to travel around, right? Is it going to feel slower? Well, maybe you would know, Travis, because you've played it. I haven't played it. That's one thing that worried me.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. The feeds off the wire forms are slower than normal Elwyn pins. They are. So here's the caveat to that, though. What's very odd, and on both of the pins I played on, the flippers felt like they were partially sagged downward. And I'm starting to think that that was on purpose. They just feel like they're setting lower than usual. And so a lot of that is making the shots just feel different in general. So it's once you get into a multi-ball, I find myself just being out of control the entire time. I'm having such a hard time getting trapped up on this game and really picking out my shots. But I feel like that's kind of the challenge in this as well. So it's almost like welcome to have a slight breather off of this game with the wire forms, because a lot of the times when you're trying to jam with the pop bumper or with the scoop or with any of the bottom spinners, if you're going to miss your shot, that ball's going to be going all over the place anyways, and it's moving around pretty quick down in the lower third. So
are the flippers lower than like Deadpool?
It feels like it. To me, it feels like it, but I haven't been able to look at it and see how it compares to others. But the flippers are definitely flopped, and I think that is a decision that they made, because on two separate pins or two separate units, it's been the same thing.
Well, I mean, Gomez said the reason he flops the flippers, he doesn't say it's flopped. He basically, apparently the way you can set up flippers is you either put a ruler on this metal guide here, the inlane guide, and you either have the flipper line up perfectly with that. So that's the flipper considered actually a little bit up. Gomez said it's like Steve Ritchie flippers or something. I don't know. There's probably somebody started it that way, but Gomez, how he said Deadpool flippers is you put a ruler straight down the two screws here in the middle of the guide, and the middle of the flipper should line up with those screws. That's what he considers as a straight, which feels flopped, if that makes they're lower.
No, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And it just makes it to where any of your shots up the middle, it's super early on your flipper. It's a lot earlier than what you think.
Yeah.
And I was actually having a very hard time hitting the building on the fly from the right hand side.
Mm-hmm. But it allows you to hit these side to side targets way, like you have more.
No, you definitely, it has to be a design choice, because doing something like that, it opens up the horizontal parts of the playfield with the spinners and everything. Because obviously you have your scoop, which is very important to the entire game, getting battles, getting cities. And then you have your left spinner, which leads to that rampage mode, which is supposed to be a pretty legit mode within itself that takes priority over everything else on the playfield. And then, of course, you got the right spinner that leads to Mecha Godzilla that you need to do in order to get to a multi-ball. But another part on this playfield that I actually really enjoyed as well, for those that have played Funhouse, you almost get like a Super Dogs feel. If you look at where the stand-up targets to Mega Godzilla are on the Pro, I was able to get a few ricochets off of there
This
into
target?
the building. Yep, those targets right there.
So you're saying you'd hit this from the left, ricochet off that, and then it would end up in the building?
Yep, I did that a couple of times. It kind of felt like shades of Funhouse when you're doing Super Dogs. I don't know if any of you guys know what I'm talking about with that.
Or Walking Dead when you hit the well walker to the riot.
Yep.
To the riot shot.
So Joe Wind Raider here is saying he said he struggled with this lower left. This was almost a rebound or ricochet type of shot. Did you have any issues with this guy?
Oh yeah, the Maser cannon shot.
Yeah.
Yep, that's very similar to Andromeda, from what I remember. Well, Colin's on top of it. He's saying the same thing I'm saying. I see his chat. Yep.
Is the pop bumper lit for like shots? Do you have to hit the pop bumper in certain instances in the game at all?
I don't think in any of mine I had to, but I know it's coming. I know it's the way you can see the inserts and everything.
Yeah, that's why I thought too. I saw
there's
the inserts. There's going to be something involving that for sure.
There's a color changing LED here too. So depending on that's one thing I really like. I mean, I'm a big fan of TNA, and man, I love hitting the pop. I love aiming for the pop for a certain shot. This.
It does have the coolest combo in all of pinball, though.
All right.
It's so much fun to hit. And we talked about this before, Joel. When you go from the left flipper.
Yeah, bottom left flipper. Yep.
Through the heat ray.
So that's this middle spinner.
Yep. And then it'll come around to the floating flipper.
Around here.
Then you hit it through the tail whip.
Boom. Oh, the tail whip. You're saying so, and then it goes down here.
You can add loop in there too if you want to.
You could. You could loop. Well, no, that would ramp. But you're saying you could loop here, and then hit this so it comes down this screaming down here.
Yep.
Feeds the left flipper.
Yep.
Yeah. And then could you catch it with that?
Oh yeah, a little bit. Yeah. But there was one really fun combo to where I did that figure 8 and then on the fly I hit it from the left flipper through the right ramp, which was a lot of fun. I mean, there's some kick-ass combos in this game.
So they were saying with the flippers where they're at, it's easier to trap up. And I know Keith in an interview said he hates backhands, which is interesting because as a competitive player, backhands are your baby, right? Because they're safer. But here,
not on Elwyn pins. There's no backhand.
So that's what I was going to ask.
Steve Ritchie pins are backhand kings for sure.
Oh, I know. Led Zeppelin, it was just backhand everything. But what can you backhand on this playfield, Travis?
The scoop if you have 2 balls on the right flipper.
Oh, okay. But that's it? That's the only
backhand
thing?
the building, can't you? I would consider a left hit off of the left flipper.
Yeah, technically speaking, you can backhand the left
magnet.
You could hit the magnet backhand.
That stand-up magnet there.
The right spinner.
It's tight. So I tried that. You have to really be sure and get that upper flipper down quick.
Can you backhand this? Seraph is saying you can. Backhand the right spinner.
Not on any of mine that I had.
Well, we'll play better.
I was not able to.
Seraph said you can do it. Yeah. I know, like Avengers Pro, you could backhand the Captain Marvel spinner, and it was a very it was a nice safe shot. Yeah, it was very useful.
Then if you can backhand
Joe Hills, thank you for the follow.
That's probably that's the meta. Then you just build up your Mega Godzilla.
Backhand? Yep. But the feed though, you backhand this with your left, you backhand this with the right, and then it's gonna come down. And you're saying anytime that ball came down this way, it would feed all the way over to your left.
If it's coming through fast. If it's slow, I had a few instances where it just kind of bounced around and drained a couple of times.
Joe Hill, love the podcast. First time catching it. Hey, Joe, appreciate it, man. Thanks for the content you make. This is just 4 guys chatting. I know Travis here, he's in the Triple Drain podcast, but Craig, obviously TPS Stern correspondent, and then Mike Castle here, Pinballers. Check out his stream as well.
I just think this pin, Keith's done such a great job at making this layout feel extremely fresh, which I think it is in the world of pinball. And the ball, to what Travis was saying again, it takes so many interesting pathways that are more unexpected, right from the plunge, I would say, which is, instead of just the typical right orbit shot, it comes right out in the middle of the playfield. And based on what Keith's saying, he's going to have upwards of 6 skill shots
Yeah.
right off the hop. So that tells you right there that the pathways that ball can take right out of the plunge are quite unique. And so I just think he's done a masterful job. For anybody who's getting, bored of pinball layouts, take a look at this thing.
Yeah.
He's I think turned, he's really proven that there are some very fresh layouts still kicking around out there, and I think this is a perfect example of how he's taken a very unique layout and still kept flow, still made it interesting, still made it fun to shoot without it being too wacky. When you see the game play, I was shocked at the different pathways this ball can take, particularly on the left side where it goes behind that left upper left flipper, and then down around that pop bumper, and to Mike's point, the game feels incredibly wide, in terms of where the ball can travel. So this is a slam dunk. I've yet to hear somebody really slag this game in any way, and people are starting to play it now.
Yeah.
And I've yet to hear someone say, "Oh, I don't know, this game is gonna be," if anything, people are saying, it's a little surprising that the code is so light so early, but at least they're not saying that the game is a dog, which they have said about other games where the code's been light. So, I again, this I think is as close to being a masterpiece by Keith Elwin as it gets. I truly think that this is gonna go down as one of the greatest of all time. And all his pins, you could make that argument over all his pins. The guy is a genius. I mean, he is the greatest pinball designer the industry has right now. No doubt.
Here's what I can say about this pin after playing it just 5 times, right?
Yeah.
Just 5 times. Here's what I can say about it. If this was the last pin I ever bought, I would be happy with that. If this was the final pin I own, never got another one, right off into the sunset, I would be happy about that. Like this, if you're a shooter or you love playing pinball, it pretty much has everything in there that will get you going. Yep.
It's got mechs, it's got shot, and that's the interesting thing. Like, there's when people are talking about pinball and layouts, there's always this argument of like, oh, I want more mechs, but like there seems to be this argument that somehow putting mechs is going to sacrifice flow. That always seems to be the argument behind Led Zeppelin and Steve Ritchie's last game, is that, oh, it's got great flow, but Keith manages to do both, and I think that's the really interesting thing about his designs. He's like, all right. Medieval Madness, I'll take your castle shot and I'll do one better. I'm gonna give you a castle that falls into the playfield, and I'm gonna give you a bridge that falls apart. I mean, Jesus.
Yeah.
And a magnet and wire forms. Like, this game really has it all. And I thought Avengers had it all, but this game, he's taken Avengers and I think he's up to the ante again. So you just kind of. I got so excited seeing the live stream of this game. I actually had to turn it off because I was like, Jesus Christ, I can't take this. Like, it is so exciting just to watch people play on it that I was like, I can't take this.
So, Donnie Key, I have about 20 games on the Pro. This game is effing sick. It has the spirit of Ballad Williams era with the modern bells and whistles of a Stern. And then Salty, I kept dumping quarters in it. Yeah. Go ahead, Mike.
So you have these 2 play fields up, and I mean, I'm looking at them. Obviously, it looks like there's significantly more in the Godzilla. I have a Led Zeppelin Premium.
Yeah.
And it is flow. The game has flow for sure. But if you look at Led Zeppelin, this game is designed to have the ball come back to your flipper as fast as possible. You hit a ramp, the ball's coming right back at your flipper. It's fast flow, right?
Mhm.
And Godzilla, again, I haven't played it, but to me, it does look like it does have a lot of flow, but it looks more slow, more methodical with the flow as opposed to just like whipping, quick shots off in
So
succession.
I agree with you, but there's a reason I pulled this up, and it really made me think. There was a person in our Discord that made a comment because there's a lot of people that make this comparison, and they say they're like, look what's in Godzilla and compare it to Led Zeppelin. Like Led Zeppelin has nothing, Godzilla has all this stuff. And what the person pointed out was there are way more coils in Led Zeppelin than there are in Godzilla, and it's not even close. And I was like, no way. But think about it. They both have 3 flippers. Yep. So that's a scratch. Led Zeppelin, you got a coil for this scoop. There's one. Drop targets. Are these drop targets right here? Or are these stand up?
No, those are stand ups.
Okay, but you have drop targets here. That's 2.
Yep.
You have another coil back here. That's 3. This diverter's a coil. That's 4. And then over here, these are stand ups, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So you have 4 additional coils besides slings and flippers, right? Oh, not to mention you have 3 pop bumpers, so that's 7 coils, right?
Yep.
Am I right? Godzilla,
yep.
1 pop bumper, 1 scoop, that's 2 coils.
Yep.
So
and a magnet. I would count a magnet a similar mech to a coil.
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying, though.
As far as like a bomb.
But cost, right? I mean, everybody's like, Keith had to have gotten more game. It's like, no, Keith used 2 extra, like, instead of paying for 5 other coils and the mechs that are involved in those coils, he spent all of his money on wire forms and a magnet.
He just finds a way to pack a game with additional shots.
Yeah.
Without sacrificing, the width of a shot. If you look at Houdini, for example, Houdini's got a lot of shots in it, but every shot in that game is so tight. I mean, if you look at all of Keith Elwin's games and count, the major shots in the game, there's more in those games than practically any other, LCD Stern for sure. That you'll see.
But what's made me really think about, because I remember when I had a Zeppelin and you'd tilt the playfield up, like this entire middle section is bare. There's like nothing under the playfield, right? Yeah, on a Pro. But I'm curious because there's like no coils on this game. What is actually under this playfield besides LEDs?
Lights.
But like this entire middle section, you have a mech here for this upper flipper.
Half a building.
This drop target, I mean, this target goes down. This scoop, but it's just like this. That's the thing, though, is if you really look at it, everybody there's a lot less here than people realize, but it still looks like it looks packed, and it feels packed.
Spade a spade. Like Elwin is just a better designer than Steve Ritchie, and a big reason for that is Elwin just has a much larger database to draw from playing experience. That's the big thing. When you get somebody has a ton of playing experience at a high level across multiple eras, this is what you get. You get somebody that fully knows pinball. You don't get shots that are just bricked out shots. You don't get shots like, for instance, Mandalorian, the ambush shot. When that ramp isn't up and it comes around, just kind of clanks off the side. You don't necessarily get shots like that. You get shots that make sense, and that's what Elwin's really good at. And I think a large part of that is because he has such a huge database of experience to draw from. And this is somebody that has not only played against some of the best players in the world, but he obviously will talk to some of the other best players in the world, and he's gotten opinions on what's fun and what's not fun from other top tier players. And the reality is, if you make something that's fun for top tier players, other people are going to love it as well. Casuals are going to love it as well. If it's a challenge for everybody, it's going to be fun overall, because then the rule set can reflect that. And it just harkens back to what we were talking about, that what makes Elwin games so great also is that the rule set always makes sense with the layout, because he can mesh those things together. And that is huge. I mean, we cannot overstate that enough. That is massive in the overall gameplay experience.
Well, he's also more hands-on on the rules too, isn't he? He's 100%. More hands-on than any other designer is too. So,
and I think we've all announced. I think we all I mean, we've all had games that have come and gone, but the reality is, theme is awesome. It's got to shoot great, but the thing that keeps a game in our collection is the rules. I mean, it's the rules have to be there for us to keep a game, and that's something. I mean, the fact that Keith, the guy who designed the layout, is also the designer of the rules. They mesh. I mean, they just mesh so well.
This game's going to have two major things that's going to keep it in people's collections. All right.
Yeah.
It's actually probably going to have three. For us, it could be the rules. It could be the shot layout. For the casuals, it's going to have the major mechs. It's going to have the building doing its thing, falling down. It's going to have the Magna Grab. It's going to have, the Mecha Godzilla mech. This is the type of game. It's the perfect storm for something like this to stay in everybody's collection. I think the LEs that go out, you are not going to see those pop back up anytime soon. And if they do, good luck getting one, because you're going to pay a premium for it.
Yeah, and I think it's the thing too. It's the intangible thing that made Elvira's House of Horrors so popular, which was, at the end of the day, it was a campy, fun. Everyone ripped that playfield when they saw it. They were like, "There's nothing in this game. It's boring." Da 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 da. As soon as they applied that code and that video and the campiness to the game, it just like it made everything fun, and it added a levity to that machine that they can't keep them in stock. So I think Godzilla's got this in spades. And when you see the animations and the video, and then they apply that the Blue Oyster Cult rock music to it, this game has something that Avengers doesn't have, which I the only thing I was disappointed about Avengers is it's got the fun factor that the Avengers doesn't have beyond the shots.
Oh, and the
because those animations in the Avengers are not fun, right? They're not fun. They're effective, but they're not fun. This has fun written all over it when you get beyond just the playfield and the shots and what the ball is doing. So you can have your friend standing there and he's killing himself laughing because on the screen he's seeing all of the old time Godzilla movies that we all grew up with, and Baby Godzilla's there, and Jaguar's in there. Like, I was killing myself laughing at how they were, and the bad jets things, and they really hit a home run, bringing, like you said, Travis and Mike, the code on this game and the animations just ties the whole damn thing together and just makes it like it's like the mic drop, like that's it.
Mike, that's what you haven't seen with skipping the streams. The thing that blew me away was the music is actually
it's so
really good because it's like this rock music, and then the animations are fun. Like, it is they're
freaking hilarious. If you guys want fun, just kick in the ball save. My God, the ball save that comes up, it's just hilarious. We were dying laughing the whole time, and they were so funny. We legit put in coin drop just to specifically see the ball save animations come up, or the ball save video come up.
So you're saying this game has more personality than his other games? I know people have sort of crapped on Elwyn for not having personality in the games. I will disagree with that. I think I do like Avengers, and I do like Iron Maiden. The only reason why I kept Jurassic Park as long as I did was the rules. Everything else was kind of didn't really do it for me. So Godzilla, is this the game? Is this the one with the personality? Is this the one people are going to say, okay,
the complete package?
He finally found a way to get the whole complete package.
Yeah. We're I'll put it this way. If I was a betting man, I would put the house on this being considered the greatest pinball machine of all time by next summer when the code gets fully flushed out.
But even premium though, right? Or pro?
Premium. That's what I mean. When everything gets fleshed out, I think it'll be considered the best pinball machine of all time up to this point. Wow. I mean, when you take everything into consideration, because we have to assume that because it's Elwyn, the rules will catch up, and he's already starting to flesh this out, and he knows where he wants to go with it. But when I take into consideration how the shots are, how the video is, the campiness to it, how the soundtrack is, because for whatever reason, he decided, I assume it was Elwyn's decision, to go with kind of like a rock soundtrack, which you would think wouldn't necessarily work, but it freaking works on this.
Yeah.
That's how it works, and it's just so much damn fun. playing it. And it's just, yeah, I would be entirely shocked if this wasn't considered the greatest game of all time by next summer.
Well, I was gonna say, hey, let's wrap up this segment, but I feel like I feel like you kind of just did. I mean, both you, Craig, and all three of you guys really spoke highly of this, and yeah, I can't wait to play it. I know Expo is probably going to be the first chance for the majority of people here to play it. And Mike, I know you got one coming soon, so I'm looking forward to seeing you stream it. But yeah, we really only have one last thing to talk about before we wrap up. I know we're already a little past midnight, at least on my end. But this kind of dropped. This was literally dropped today on. So Zach's, what do we got? We should have a pro and one of the first premiums in the Flip N Out booth. Okay, all right, that's one way to draw some people in. Nice job,
nice.
Zach. That's awesome. That'll be really fun to play. But so today on Marco Specialties, they did a live stream that George Gomez was on, and I did not see it. Travis, you actually watched the clip, but what did George say? What were his word? Do you remember the wording, or what was the question that prompted his answer? Do you know
which part? You're talking about him possibly doing another game?
Yes.
Yeah, he mentioned something just briefly about designing something for next year, but he was really coy about it, if I remember right.
So I know, so I had a chance to interview Tanyo and George earlier this year, and they mentioned that they have something coming out, and they basically said internet connectivity was coming out in September. And I made a comment about Tanyo. He had, this was his only game. It's currently ranked in the top 5. Like, any chance you're designing again? And George said, well, as soon as he's done with this come September, yes, he's going to have a chance at another game. So I heard that and I was like, that sounds awesome. What about you, George? And he goes, nah, I don't have that. Like, I don't get that luxury. So he was either lying to me or this is a new thing. And maybe it's because Steve Ritchie's gone, right? So they have a hole in their design team.
Someone's got to jump in on the rotation.
And last time they had a hole, George was the one that jumped in. So the question is, George jumped in for Deadpool. Is there a chance that the next, top tier, Lord of the Rings Vault? I mean, maybe.
I think top tier is over the target right there.
So that's this could go 3 ways, right? It's either a vault, or it's going to be either he jumped in on the next theme because there was a hole. So Steve Ritchie had something and he had to leave, so George is now jumping in to finish it. Or is this going to be the next Batman 66, like huge, super limited theme, and is this going to be the Harry Potter or the Back to the Future crazy theme that we've talked about? Where are we going with this?
His last, what weren't his last 2 games both kapows?
Well, Deadpool wasn't, but
Batman
66 was.
Sorry, Batman 66 was before Deadpool. So Batman 66.
And what was the other?
Beatles.
Oh, Beatles.
Beatles. Yeah, they're both kapow, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I believe.
Yeah.
Aside from, I guess Elvira was the only other one they did. I could see him doing a Back to the Future. I don't know about Harry Potter. That's a little bit of a sensitive theme right now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think personally, if we see Back to the Future, I think it's going to be a super LE. I really do. The way everybody's talking, the way that even Kamikawa was talking about it, I think on Loser Kids podcast, it seemed like he was nearly too confident about that game. And if you were ever going to come out with a super LE, I feel like next year is the perfect time at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So they make a ton of money with very little production.
Yeah, I mean, that super LE is probably going to be what, $20,000 easily.
Steve Ritchie was working on Rush, and Borg and Gomez took it over. So that's what you're just thinking. Gomez is helping Borg. Well, Rush, that's something we didn't talk about. Maybe we'll talk about that next time. But we know Rush is coming
from the leaked pictures, right?
Yeah.
Before Stern realized that they accidentally leaked it.
Yeah.
It definitely looked like the way that ramp was on the right hand side. It kind of looked Gomez inspired because he really likes his ramps doing some crazy stuff like that. Whereas I don't really remember Borg ever really doing that too much. So I don't know if you guys know the photo I'm referring to, if you've seen it before or not.
I can try to find it.
It looks like it's like blue plastic or something, almost like those old Gottlieb ramps that they had with all the colors.
I think that's just a whitewood plastic. Like they're just
But the way it was designed, that it really didn't remind me of Borg. It reminded me more of Gomez. So I don't know. Maybe we're onto something here. Maybe it is a combined effort. I don't know. But
I thought that Steve Ritchie pretty much had a game already done before leaving as well.
Well, I think he said he had
That's
what,
in the
2
rotation.
Whitewoods? 2 Whitewoods?
yeah, I think he said he had 2 Whitewoods that he was working on.
So I guess maybe they're in some state of being completed, I
And
suppose.
again, for anybody watching or listening, this is complete speculation.
Yeah, we have no idea.
on our part. Yeah.
Anyway, there's nobody. Well, first off, Seraph had a good one. He said, no, it's Gary. Gary's the new designer. That's why he stepped down. I thought that was funny. But there's no way this is a bad thing. George Gomez is a good designer. So whatever he's going to work on is, I mean, it's gonna be nice. But I am interested if that is something where it's like somebody said something about a Lord of the Rings vault. It's like, yeah, but what would he be he doesn't need to redesign anything, right? Unless they're talking about stepping it into Spike 2, but I don't know if they do that. I don't know. We put it on the list, but if only we had a Stern correspondent to fill us in. Yeah.
I know, right?
I think all things are pointing this way. I when I look at even just the subtle hints of Joe Kamenkow coming on the Super Awesome Pinball Show, and just him, the fact that he's been teasing, and that he's got this Back to the Future play that's been released that he's a backer of. He's got the license, and so Stern's going to get these licenses. There's no doubt in my mind that in the next 2 to 3 years, you're going to see a Back to the Future, you're going to see a Harry Potter. All the big themes, they are absolutely talking. Rush, I mean, that's been a theme that people have been talking about, and they're going to come out with Rush.
Here it is.
There hasn't been many themes that have been rumored to them to do that they haven't done. What I find interesting, too, is that they haven't really done anything that's been completely out of left field that people have been sort of shocked or surprised by. So as much as Stern's been very good not to have any overt leaks, I don't think they've done anything theme-wise that has been overly surprising either to everybody. So I just look at all that and I go, he's going to do it. They are absolutely going to do Back to the Future. It is absolutely going to be a Cam and Cow thing. It's just a question of when. That's the only if here. Is it going to be next year? And is it going to be like something like Travis said? Is it going to be a super pin? And you'd think it's probably between that and Harry Potter, it's probably the theme that people talk about the most as being sort of their grail theme. Is that theme comes up over and over and over again on Pinside as being the one that people want. So if they're ever going to jam people for a super pin,
Back to the Future,
that's where you put your money.
So this picture here, if you guys haven't seen it, ignore the majority of the picture. It's look at this cabinet in the background. And so people were looking at this artwork and they're like, this is nothing we've seen, but what's going on with this artwork? Props to whoever did this, but they literally took the artwork and you can see it lines up perfectly with the Rush lettering from
There's
the original album.
No doubt about it.
Yeah. So props to whoever did that. And then since then, that picture they've actually edited and photoshopped out. So now that picture online, it's still online, but this entire section is black. So
Do you think Stern did that on purpose? Do you think that because what would be the odds, the very first picture that everybody could see, you could be a basic insider and you could see that? How would that pass? You know what I mean? It has to be on purpose, right? A purpose leak.
If Rush was not a rumored title already from Stern, would this have been seen so quickly? Would somebody have put this together if Rush wasn't already talked about, though?
I mean,
look at what's showing there. There's not a lot there.
Yeah,
right?
but this ramp,
but it lines up
ramp
perfectly with that logo.
To me,
just the lettering.
It definitely does. Oh, no, there's no doubt about it. It's definitely a Rush. But what I'm saying is we've been hearing Rush for a while now. If that name was not something we had heard, would we still would people have picked that up? It's there's really not a lot there.
But what I think people would pick up is they would see this ramp and they would see that's not normal. Like nobody, this is unique. So then they would be going, this is something new. But I agree that this type of detective work, to look at that tiny little bit of lettering and then that, I don't know, but
Yeah,
remember
flip it
the puzzles.
around
Seraph
and
said,
lay that in.
remember the puzzles? Remember how much people were looking at individual puzzles and trying to decipher the artwork on the puzzle pieces? And that looks like a Godzilla scale, or this looks like that. I mean, remember? Yeah.
And then it turned out being nothing. It was just
It was,
some,
yeah.
If this
people were thinking it was the Back to the Future.
Oh yeah.
Oh, people had talked themselves into everything.
Yeah.
And
if this turns out to be another puzzle, I will just quit pinball. They're doing they're operating on another level.
Yeah.
I just can't get on.
Wind Raider Joe, I said if this is a troll and they tape that to the side of a cabinet, I mean, more power to them. If that's
Well, look at it though. If you go back to the other picture, you can see it. It looks almost like there's some sort of a decal, and it's partially peeled off. The white, you can see the white there towards the middle of it. Is that not like a part of the decal?
I don't know,
or something?
but it's under this hinge. So I mean, it's like it is on. You can see it's under the hinge at the top. It is on the cabinet. I don't know. I don't know that answer. I this white thing does surprise me, but Rush puzzle confirmed. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't know, but it is enough that, I mean, we've all heard it's rush. So is that the pin that comes out December, early January? I don't know, but it's got to be pretty close. I mean,
I'll just tell you, Joel, it's coming out in December.
Oh, you heard it here first.
Well, this is the thing. So if you look at the game beside it, that's the whitewood to Godzilla, right?
Is it?
Yes.
That's the whitewood to Godzilla. I'm pretty sure this is the whitewood to Godzilla, or the home pin version. I don't know. One of the two.
No,
what shot is
whitewood for Godzilla?
How?
Yeah. So
because this is
the state.
Yeah,
the state that this is in, and it looks like if that is a rush beside it. Now we're only looking at a small portion of it.
Oh yeah.
It looks like it's further along, doesn't it?
A lot.
Doesn't it look like it's further along? Like you can see almost what looks like an insert on the playfield with some GI or something shining underneath there too.
And ramps and everything.
So maybe this game was supposed to come out before Godzilla. They swapped it. They've done it before, right? They've pivoted, and so maybe this is a game that's been ready for a while.
Keith has said though he was originally supposed to do Godzilla before Avengers. And then
he had started designing Godzilla before Avengers.
So the question is, where is this? Where's this picture from, and what's the point of it? What's it actually trying to show? Because if you do look, the Insider Connected cutout is already out down here in the apron. So I feel like this was either just purposely thrown in to take a picture of showing. I don't know. I don't know what this picture's from or what the point of the picture was trying to show originally. But released in December, so Zach can refer it as 2022 game the whole year, like Led Zeppelin. Yeah.
Well, it's definitely in a Avengers LE cabinet.
Yeah.
Right. So I mean, what cabinet is the Russian? So why would there be a decal on it? That's the question I have.
I mean, it's a blue. This is like a blue. It looks like this rail is like a blue purple powder coat.
Yeah.
And I don't know what game had that.
Well, the picture came from, I'm looking at it right now, from the Insider, just the behind the scenes for Godzilla playfield development progression.
Got it.
So if this has the Avengers cabinet in it, obviously Avengers came out, what was it, August of 2020 or the end of July 2020? October? Okay, so it came out sometime late in 2020. So I would have to think that this was probably shortly after that, because there's just, this is the bare bones. Elwin already had this part done on Godzilla even before he started on Avengers. So it had to be probably about a year ago that this picture was taken, I would imagine.
So Rush has been done this long?
I wouldn't necessarily say it's been done, but it might be a lot further along than what we all realized.
Yeah, but I thought I heard somewhere in a podcast that like Keith said if he has Keith has like a 12-month like start to finish schedule. But the reality is I think he only spends like 2 or 3 months actually designing the game. Everything else is all code and lights and manufacturing and like layout. At least that's what I mean. Like layout design, he knocks that out pretty quick. And then it's all focusing in on mechs and making sure the mechs do what they need to do. But I don't know. I don't know. I think it's cool, but either way, back to Gomez. Whatever Gomez is touching next year, I'm excited. I mean, I like Gomez, and I think everything we threw out, whether or not this is a super limited Back to the Future pin, it'll sell out. If it's a Lord of the Rings Vault, sell out. If it's a brand new Gomez game, yeah, sign. Like there are plenty of people that are excited. Some people. I mean, Zach, Greg Bone, my homie Gomie. I don't know. This is it. Hearing that he's involved in potentially designing something new next year, all good points. Seraph is saying he thinks this is the Stranger Things powder coating. But that ramp, unless they really change the ramps on Stranger Things, that doesn't. I don't know. I mean unless they just use
maybe.
It's something that we weren't supposed to see. Otherwise, Stern
wouldn't have
photoshopped that picture.
Yep. So. Yep.
Whoopsies.
Well, we are at almost a little over 2 hours, so I think it's probably about time to wrap it up. Any final thoughts from or maybe we should just go around and do some quick final thought. I don't know.
What do you want to do, Joel? You sound like you're tired already.
No, it's
He's
I feel bad.
Steam.
I feel bad. I bring Mike on here. I was like, yeah, normally 10 to 12, and I don't know if he's hey, Travis,
I'm
when we record with Tom,
sawing logs right now. I'm going to sleep. I had to nap before.
When we record with Tom, like Tom has bedtime. Okay, so I want to be respectful to our guests.
It's into our podcast. You guys just don't see that part.
He's yawning away.
This is basically our Friday anyway, right? I mean, you just got to get through one day being a little tired. It's all good.
Let's just give the chat like 5 minutes to ask any question.
Chat. Why not?
That'd be good for closing thoughts.
Well, we already had one. Steve Top Tier, a little bit off topic. You guys think JJP will announce their next game by the end of 2021? Do you think we will hear about? Well, let's say this Expo. I think we are thinking American Pinball should announce something. Yes, hopefully American Pinball announces something at Expo.
Do they have a seminar booked? Do they have a?
Good question. I can Google that.
I believe they do.
I
wouldn't be surprised if both these companies make announcements during the show. How much they're. I wouldn't be surprised if American Pinball actually brings a finished machine there and says, "Here you go, guys, and guess what? You can buy it either now or you can buy it in 2 weeks." I don't think JJP is going to be quite that bold, but I do think they're going to throw out something to confirm that Toy Story is coming. I do think. This is the largest expo that, probably the second largest next to TPF. And it would not surprise me if JJP confirmed that Toy Story is coming.
Is it a good time?
Why wouldn't they? I think it's a great
for
time
them right now, though.
I think it's a great
JJP?
time. Yeah,
even with everything going on with the play fields and everything else.
I just think they need something positive to talk about, and I think it's a great way for them to deflect, from, the assembly issues that they're having. They gotta be a little bit like, I am frustrated with JJP in that I do not think they've addressed this playfield quality issue to the best of their ability. But a part of me is like, they also got to go, we're plowing ahead here. If they're going to do that, why wouldn't they? Otherwise, I think people are going to focus on the fact that I think they can do both, frankly. If I was them, I'd be like, guess what? I would be addressing that thing head on, and I'd be announcing Toy Story and trying to get people gunned up again, to let people know that this thing is being addressed, that it has been addressed, that they are, moving forward in the best way they know how, and it's all systems go. But I don't think they're going to do it that way, frankly, but I think that's the way they should be doing it. But I do think they are going to make this announcement that Toy Story is coming next.
So right here,
that'd be my bet.
American Pinball update and special announcement by Dave Fix. So I would hope that American Pinball is announcing something besides, hey, we hired whoever.
Is Jersey Jack anywhere on there?
What?
Is Jersey Jack anywhere on there?
An evening with Jersey Jack, right here. An evening with Jersey Jack, Jack Winarian staff at 8:45.
It doesn't say special announcement or anything like that?
No. I mean, they're talking for 2 hours and 15 minutes, though. I don't. Never, not
Americans
If
necessarily.
got
they
one
No.
don't, it'll be a huge miss for them. I can't see. Anyway,
I think personally it'd be a mistake to announce it at Expo.
would you?
Just,
Yeah.
yeah, well, I mean, just because if they announce it at Expo, right, they're still behind on GNR games.
They're still
They
making.
haven't gotten all those out yet. So I don't see them announcing Toy Story and then all of a sudden they're going to try to put them all out like they did GNR.
Yeah, but
And
nobody
You can still
announces.
buy a brand new LE GNR too. I think
Yeah.
they're not sold out either.
But
Right?
nobody
No.
announces games at shows, right? I mean,
it
look at.
happens sometimes. I mean, the last one I can really remember that stands out to me was just Alice Cooper by Spooky at TPF.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, I bet American Pinball will announce this at the show, but my thought is that JJP, the last game they announced, Guns N' Roses, we all praised the way that they announced that game because Zach was involved. He made an amazing video. They had an awesome trailer. They want to get,
True.
they want to get different they want IGN to pick up the game and like these bigger news sites. That's why Stern doesn't announce games at Expo, right? So now that Joe Windrader, watch, they'll announce another run of Pirates. That would be something I could see them announcing at Expo. But announcing a brand new game at Expo, I don't see it. Now, whether or not they would announce it before the end of the year, I don't know. The bigger question there would be talking to distributors and saying, "Hey, how many Guns N' Roses do you have orders that are still yet to be fulfilled?" And if there's a ton of them, then I don't think they want to rush into another game yet. I don't really know.
No, because people who may have had money for GNR may move it to Toy Story, and then they're stuck with trying to sell more of the LEs
good point.
for the GNR.
Yeah. Ray Day's here.
good
Ray
point.
Day, is it just me or does Mike look like Joel's evil twin? I don't, Mike, you look great, man. I don't know how to.
Thanks, appreciate it.
Yeah.
I'm going to take that as a compliment.
Yeah, I think it's great. I think it's a very good compliment. Yeah. I don't know. Any other questions from chat? Congrats to Travis on finishing third last weekend once everyone else left for home. Wow. Yeah.
Thank you. I actually took fourth. I lost the tiebreaker, but thank you.
Oh, wow. Bad Cats 2 Furballs in Paradise is announced. It would probably sell. Yeah. Mike just looks more fierce. There you go. There you go.
That's the look
All
I
right.
was going for. That's
Yeah.
exactly what I was going for.
Well, hopefully whatever American Pinball announces, it'll actually be
Mm-hmm.
good. It'll be something good.
They'll be in
It'll
there.
be something
Yeah.
exciting. It'll be a theme we all love. It'll be a theme we've all been asking for. It'll be a killer layout.
It's got to be all.
American
It's going to
Pinball
be all
will
those
not
things.
screw this
It will
up.
not be any of those things, sadly.
We will see. I mean, I think they already said, right?
It will
It's gonna-
definitely not
the
be any
next-
of those things.
Didn't they say the next 2 games or the next 3 games are all unlicensed? So
Yeah, I don't know. I don't understand their line of thinking because
It's cringeworthy.
I feel I feel like they did like they put it out to a survey and they accidentally surveyed a bunch of foosball players instead of pinball players and they didn't. Oh, like I don't understand why you would do something that's not themed because even Spooky just proved that you can take even the most obscure theme and as long as you package it correctly, it's going to sell. So I don't know. Maybe like we talked about last time that maybe American Pinball just happens to have a theme that's what's that called? That's available to everybody. That's not necessarily a licensed theme. What's the word for that?
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
Like
yeah.
commons or common license, whatever it is. Maybe
Mhm.
that. I
Open
don't-
license, something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the problem with
royalty free or something? No.
The problem with American Pinball too is that Spooky's really built this
Public domain.
following. Public, yeah.
Yep.
And Spooky's really built a following over the years where they've developed this relationship within the community, and I just don't see that with American Pinball. It's not like they've had a string of successes and this is going to be a fourth in a series, right? Like Spooky's had their successes, and I'm not calling Houdini a success. Sorry, I'm not calling Oktoberfest a success. Sorry, it ain't. And Hot Wheels was as close as they've had, I'd say, to a successful pinball machine, but it's not like it left people wanting more. I don't think like they released at what I would call at a to be as generous as I can with Hot Wheels, it was an average themed pin, an average playing pin. It was good. It wasn't great, So to come back then on the heels of that, and I think people were like, oh, finally, there was a bit of a sigh of relief that at least they chose a theme that people recognize and that is, sort of liked. It was still a bit of a question mark, like Hot Wheels question mark, like okay, maybe there'll be jumps, maybe there'll be crazy ramps, and people were trying to make the best of it. But to release something like Legends of Valhalla, thinking that you're like the next Bally Williams in Cactus Canyon or something like that is crazy to me. It's so far in left field. It's like people are surrounding themselves and drinking their own Kool-Aid here without, like, to Travis's point, they're not looking at the community and their customer base and going, okay, what are people asking for? What do people want? They don't want a Legends of Valhalla. They don't. Sorry, David Fix. So that's just my hot take on the whole thing. I wish them well. I think, there's a lot of potential there. They're to everybody's point, they're made like tanks. You can't fault them on the quality of their machines. I just think it strictly comes down to a theme. I think it's that simple. Just to tie a bow in it.
Yeah. I like what Ray Day just said. Has Craig been in pinball for 5 years though?
Yeah, exactly.
Nope. Yeah. Nope. So neither have I.
Well,
so
I haven't owned a pinball machine for 5 years, but I've certainly been playing them for over 5 years.
Yeah. Here's what I would say. With American pinball and themes, I think the chance that they need to take is get a modern music theme. Like go the opposite of the old school rock. Like find something that is modern, like anything in general. And I think that in itself, you would sell 500 to 1,000 of those. You really would. So maybe it's too expensive. Maybe I'm just being naive and those types of licenses are just way too much money, but
make a Deadmau5 theme pinball, make a Drake pinball machine. I like to your point, like a Justin Bieber. I don't know, go the opposite, like you said, Travis.
Ray Day wants Smash
Mouth. You gotta make a
Snoop
Dogg.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah.
I've just always been shocked that none of these pinball companies have gotten with a record company, a record label company. That doesn't even have to be one of the big ones to where they could get multiple musicians that are under that label. Like I've always wondered if that's possible. I don't know if the copyrights and the license just work differently if you have to approach other people besides the record label, but I've always wondered if you do it in that way to where you just have the record label, then you could have music across all genres in there. I think having that mashed together would be pretty cool.
Yep.
You're right, American Pinball. I mean, I will tell you, after having Hot Wheels here, the thing I'm most impressed about the game is the build quality and the overall. Like I am impressed with the game. I think you get a lot of game for the value. So yes, I do absolutely think if they had a better theme, this next game would sell better than them already announcing it's unlicensed. But I don't know. We're just gonna have to see on that one. We'll have to wait and see.
Wait and see.
Yeah. So everybody, Sheriff's saying, I love how everybody's mentioning hip hop groups from 20 years ago when you're saying modern music. Yeah, I don't know.
Some of them are still relevant.
Yeah,
they're much more relevant than
Yeah.
even Rush or somebody else is now, despite the fact that these guys are all-star bands and whatnot.
Yeah,
but
they all say dad rock pins. Yeah, and that's
well, that's the thing. They're all rock too, right? There's I don't think there's any hip hop. There's no, and I guess that's just sort of the culture,
What about
right?
country?
The culture of
What about-
pinball,
yeah,
like there's
yeah.
no. It's all rock, and there's no other genre of music in pinball really.
I'm 1,000% positive a marshmallow pin would do big sales. I think if you get the right lights, the right sound package to it, I think something like that would do big time sales because it'd be very similar to Tron in that way, where you have kind of that type of music with a light show included.
Yeah.
I think something like that.
But if you're going to go electronic, I mean, who's the biggest? I mean, yeah, if that's the idea, we want to go with an electronica based pin. Look at how great TNA has done.
Yep.
But I mean, yeah, you could be looking at somebody huge like, Skrillex, Diplo, Marshmello, Daft Punk, go for it. You could do some really cool things. But I don't know. Well, Great
Sky's
ideas.
the limit.
Sky's the limit. Any other closing thoughts before we go ahead and wrap this up and raid somebody? Mike,
well, it's an exciting
Greg.
time for pinball. Yeah, I think it's just an exciting time for pinball right now, and I think the hobby is has got nowhere to go but up. It's going to continue to gain in popularity. I think there's a lot of exciting things to look forward to. I mean, there's 5 people are shocked that don't know pinball, and they're like, "Oh, you got a pinball machine," and then you start to talk about it and talk about the number of manufacturers that are bringing out product. I just think it's a great time if you're a fan of arcade machines, pinball, video games. This is the
Yeah,
this is it.
I agree. I'm not. Yep.
Enjoy the ride, everybody.
Yeah, I agree. I think we have hit or are approaching peak pinball right now.
The golden era.
Yeah, it's like peak pinball for, I guess, the post peak pinball era when we had the early 90s. But now I just think you got to be careful too, though, because I mean, you have to know what you're doing as well in the hobby, or you're going to end up paying too much, or
paying $10,000 for bad cats.
Yeah. The market is so volatile right now that there's such a stretch between the low end value of a particular game and a high end value. Where are you putting the prices? It's really, to me, it's exciting but also scary at the same time, because we have no idea where the market's going to go. Is it going to continue? We thought in the summer when everything opened up that the market was going to correct itself, but it's just exploded even further. So it's definitely an exciting time right now. A little, I mean, I don't know how it is for you guys, but here in Canada, pinball is a lot scarcer. The only new pinball entering Canada are new in box games. Like, we're not getting any other games crossing the border. So, I mean, I would say that pinball is even hotter up here. I mean, the market anyway is really,
Yeah. Be good points. Travis, anything?
I got nothing.
You got nothing?
I think you guys just summed it all up. I'll just take something out of Tom's book.
Yeah.
It was a good overall chat. But yeah, when it comes to pinball prices and all that, honestly, I was thinking about this earlier today. I think that we have at least one more year of this, and then I think it's going to get a little dicey come next winter. I got a feeling that we're about to hit that peak. We might have already hit that peak. So,
well, right? Godzilla, you peaked.
Yeah. But I mean, if you're other than Stern, you better be getting your games out now. Get yourselves in now, because I don't see any way possible, at least here in America, that we can keep going the way that we're going with inflation, the way it's going. The new report coming out that a lot of economists think that it's actually around 14 to 15% and not the 5% that they're saying. So I'm kind of like, what's going to happen here in the next few months? And I'm kind of curious, but I think pinball will still stay popular just because the last thing people want to get rid of is home entertainment. I know that's what to get rid of.
Yeah, I'm not bailing on the hobby anytime soon, but I also know it's interesting talking to some people that it's just like the price of pins has gotten to a point where they can't have that idea of, I'll buy the next one. I'll go ahead and buy the next one or flip it. Or, I mean, and now it just sucks with the delay. You buy a game and you're waiting so long that another game's revealed. So do you move your money along? And what I'm seeing is trading. If you have a game, you have a lot better chance of trading it for something else than you do buying another one. And so I feel lucky to be in the hobby, or feel like I have things that I could trade if I wanted to. But
yeah, the last few games I got rid of, I traded as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So at the same time, though, I mean, what a great hobby. What a fun hobby. It's awesome that you have people like Dwight who hop into chat and chat with us. Ray Day's in chat. We have people like, within TPN or outside of TPN that want to talk. Everybody else, I mean, it's just, what a fun hobby. What a cool hobby to be a part of. And I know Expo's coming up. I can't wait to meet some of you guys.
Craig and Mike, you see what I got to deal with? Yeah. Just sucking up to everybody all the time.
I'm literally saying this hobby's fun, and if you want to interpret it as sucking up, that's fine, but that's fine. But I don't know. I will say, Travis, thanks for being here. Craig, thank you for being here once again. And Mike, Mike, way to go. Thank you for hopefully you enjoyed
Thanks.
yourself, and I'm glad
I did. It was great. I
yeah.
hope I did okay. It was my first time on a podcast, videocast, whatever. It's
Yeah.
easy to sit in front of a pinball machine and stream for 2 hours and play.
It's so
But
easy.
to sit and talk, it's a different thing. I was a little nervous, but I hope it was okay. I really appreciate you guys having me on too.
No, I love the different perspectives, and I kind of threw out the bat signal, the Nordman signal on TPN, just saying, hey, who's all interested in this? And Mike was one of multiple people that said they'd love to do this. So yeah, I'm all for this. I enjoy the chatting, and I don't think people realize, but these banners are showing a very unfinished basement. So I am trying my best to get through it. Yeah, Casselman, you were great. Thanks a bunch for being here. And yeah, one day you should get your wife and Connor and everybody on here too. I mean, I bet they have valid
anytime.
Yeah. Well, I think we're going to wrap it up. So raid wise, this is what's tough. TPN's growing, and yeah, we have Don't Panic Flip, who's doing a really cool battle. He's actually battling Chuck Wirt on Stars, or Frisco Pinball. I'm kind of leaning towards Frisco Pinball, and that's because Frisco Pinball is brand new to TPN. Love to show him some love, but he's playing Avengers, and I think I know the three of you guys are big fans of Avengers, so I think we've got to head that way. Is what unless you guys are very against that idea.
It's tough. There's a battle going on too.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
Oh my god! Just flip a coin. That's what we got to do. We can't pick favorites.
Flip a coin. Hey Zach, what are you flipping out? This is your channel. Who do you want to raid?
Yeah, good idea.
We gotta wait. Zach. Yeah, put on Zach. Anybody, if Zach doesn't pick you, be offended. So, he's not gonna answer. We're gonna sit here awkwardly and not. He. That's all he says. Very helpful. I don't have a coin. Who carries coins anymore? I already have Frisco Pinball typed in. We're going to Frisco Pinball. Hey, you guys, I appreciate you. Chat. Thank you for being here. Thanks a bunch. And I think I'm going to stream next Wednesday on my channel, just another pinball stream. Probably just do like a what's coming up with Pinball Expo, what we're going to see. So, yeah, enjoy this raid. I always like start shutting it down, and the raid takes 10 seconds. It's the most awkward. Like, I really struggle.
You got 10 seconds of awkwardness where you're just like,
2, 1. Oh, okay. All right.
Just push the button. Push the button.
See everybody.